This is JR watches Star Trek for the first time, podcast 63.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Only this week have I noticed that you still use the same Space, the Final Frontier intro in every single episode from the beginning.
So did you finally start listening to them?
I had to, because only on about half of the ones on our blog did you list our end of the season awards. I had to go back and listen to half of the season wrap-ups to find my old awards.
Oh, wow. You did it that way? I just did it all from scratch.
Yeah, that was going to take a long time. Although there were some categories that basically forced me to go back and look at every single episode. So I feel like I did a pretty comprehensive review.
Wow. Good for you. I guess now's a good time to officially start. I don't know if we'll throw all that little talk in there or not. But let's just say we're going now, right?
Okay.
Okay, this is JR watches Star Trek for the first time.
Engage.
That's JR. Yeah. I'm John. I'm from Salt Lake City. That's usually how we begin things.
This is JR from Honolulu.
And I know it sounds like we're in the same room, but we're really half a world away.
Yeah.
Just imagine, when we do this, like 50 years from now, one of us could be on a different planet.
It's true. As for now, though, all I can do is go outside and look at the moon and realize that somewhere underneath the same bright moon, you're podcasting with me.
Yeah, and it's really weird because the sun is really shining bright right now. Is the moon seriously out where you are?
No, John, I just felt like Fievel.
I know. Fievel. You know, as a kid, I used to love that, and I thought it was adorable, and then I kind of manned up. Okay. Anyway, this is really special, and we're really excited because we're not even talking about any episodes this week. We are just, we're not summing up any episodes. We're just going over the entire Next Generation, the goods, the bads. We have several categories. We have several rankings. Tons of listeners sent in their stuff. We were overwhelmed with what people have been sending in.
Yeah.
So,
several doesn't even scratch it.
What?
Several categories, that's an understatement. I mean, I would love to compare this to our original series wrap-up because I think this is way past what we did for that.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I think the original series is better than Next Generation, but the Next Generation podcast wrap-up is going to be better than the original series podcast wrap-up. So that's one thing Next Generation has going for it. That's an award right there. Best podcast wrap-up, Next Generation. But we won't get to that until like a few podcasts from now when we compare the two.
We got 3 movies to go, and then we can do that.
4 movies and
4 because
and
4.
then 3 more movies. We have 7 movies.
Oh wow, that's a lot of movie watching.
We got like after this coming up, we got Generations. And we have
First Contact.
And then maybe we'll just do one podcast where we talk about Trekkies 2, and Galaxy Quest.
And then Nemesis.
Then Insurrection. A lot of people forget Insurrection.
Ooh, then Insurrection. Nemesis. And then Nemesis. Okay.
Nemesis has, apparently, I just learned this. You saw Inception, right? Forgot the title.
Is that new crazy movie?
Haven't you seen it yet? Didn't we talk about this last time?
I haven't seen it yet, John. I'm sorry.
Well, one of the cool guys in it, one of the guys on their team, is in that movie Insurrection. Not Insurrection. He's in Nemesis. Sorry, Nemesis. And he was really cool in Nemesis. Not so cool in No, he was really cool in Inception. But not so cool in Nemesis. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard very many good things at all about the Next Generation Star Trek movies, especially the last 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm holding myself back from speaking of it at this time. In the
trying
meantime,
to remember if Nemesis has even a star on Netflix. But, well, all right, that's for the future.
Hey, Generations, I think, is on Netflix streaming right now. We don't even have to rent it.
It isn't. First Contact is, but
Oh.
Generation is not.
Okay.
However, and then again, Nemesis or Insurrection isn't, but Nemesis is. John, if you'll remember, and I do fondly, that you and I saw Generations at the movie theater together.
I don't remember.
Thanks a lot, jerk. It's the only.
Were Steve and Ammon there?
No, but Jake Willis was.
No, because I remember seeing Generations with Steve and Ammon, but I don't remember seeing it with you. Are you
Well,
sure
you
you just
saw it
didn't see it
again
with
with-
Jake and Peter without me?
I'm positive Jonathan Madsen. Now, why did I even do this podcast in the first place?
I don't know. It's all a fraud because apparently you've seen Star Trek before.
All right. All right. Well, hot diggity doggy. Do we have any crazy news before we just get going? Because this has the potential to be a long podcast.
It does. Although, I mean,
It could
it's
also
all
surprise
listed
us if
out
you're
though.
short.
It might just
Yeah.
go really quick.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like-
I have a little bit of news.
Okay.
First of all, and I know I'm forgetting something, but shout out to a few new listeners. Adam, who sent in his top 10. That I don't know. You probably noticed it came your way, and his top 10 is kind of similar to mine, although he is wrong in a few places. And also David, who I don't know if you caught this, but his email address said Yale.edu. So he's probably on crew at Yale. Maybe even the guy with the megaphone strapped to his face. They do that at Yale, right? They do crew.
Yeah, I think so. I'm glad that we've broken through to the Ivy League.
Yeah, no, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. But yeah, David sent in a couple of awesome emails. So
I hope he listens to us while he's punting.
yeah, no, that's cool. I hope he has a V-neck sweater draped around his shoulders.
Oh, we're not making fun. We're having fun. We're just having.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that was all I had. Oh, and one more thing. And I didn't tell you about this,
Oh.
but I think we have to do this. I just found a Okay, you've just finished watching all of Next Generation, and I just found a random quiz online. It's just really quick. Let me just ask you these and see if you really indeed have been watching. Let's see if you pass the Star Trek The Next Generation test. Okay, are you ready?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, here we go. All right. Worf's position on the Enterprise was Chief Security Officer. He replaced the first Chief Security Officer of the USS Enterprise. What was her name?
Tasha Yar.
I don't know. You said Tasha Yar?
Yes.
The answer is actually Natasha Yar.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry. I guess
All
I
right.
get that one wrong.
Well, actually,
We'll count that as wrong.
I can't really go to the next one. It's actually multiple choice, so you probably got the closest to that one. We'll count that as right.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, moving on. Oh, wow, was that a weird sound? Okay. Ensign Ro Laren had an intimate relationship with a member of the Enterprise's senior staff. Who?
She got riked.
Very good. Well, actually, I don't know if it's right yet. Let's see if it's right. Oh, that is right. Yeah, there's a little beep there. Okay. What's the exact name of the USS Enterprise that was commanded by Jean-Luc Picard?
I don't know. It's the Enterprise D, isn't it? I don't know what the full breakout is.
You
The NC-17
don't know the number?
NC-17.
Okay, fine. NCC 1701D. That's close enough, I guess. Pretty good.
I got the letter right.
Yeah. Since it's multiple choice, I'm not reading you the multiple choices because that would be too easy, but since you didn't get it, under normal circumstances, I'd call you wrong, but since it's multiple choice, I'll call you right. Okay. The Ferengi have a common code of conduct. What's the name of this code?
Yo Jimbo.
Here are the choices. The principles of the Grand Nagus, the teachings of Kahless, the rules of acquisition, the guidelines of wealth.
How about the rules of acquisition? Or the guidelines of wealth? Or anything but the Kahless one?
No, you're right. The rules of acquisition. Very good. Which
There you
actually, I'm not sure if... Have we talked about that? We may...
Nope.
because that's a huge thing in Deep Space Nine, and this quiz might be getting it mixed up. I think we have mentioned it once, though. All right.
Okay.
What are pattern enhancers used for?
Oh, they're a transporter booster, maybe.
They're devices used to amplify the signal lock of transporter signals?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if that works. Oh, right. Bleep. Which species possesses cloaking technology? Which two species possess cloaking technology, i.e. the technology to make ships undetectable?
Okay, if I'm correct, the Federation does, but they've agreed to not use it, and then also the Romulans.
That's not a choice. Klingons and
Romulans
Romulans
isn't a
is
choice?
a choice.
I didn't know the Klingons had cloaking technology. I thought that was a Romulan thing. Do the Klingons cloak as well? I don't know.
Okay, well, you missed this one. I'm putting Ferengi and Vulcans. Oh, you
No.
missed it. It was actually Klingons and Romulans.
Those
You
jerks.
knew Klingons had cloaked ships. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, sure.
Well, you missed it because you were missing it.
Does that mean it's done now?
There are a couple more questions. Let's skip
okay.
this one because that one's dumb. Earth is part of the Federation of Planets. Which species is not part of this federation? Vulcans, Andorians, Betazoid, Klingons.
Let's go with Klingons. John, according to a few episodes ago, the Federation does have cloaking technology, buddy. I'm a little anyway.
All right, fine.
So-
Fine.
Is it Klingons? Klingonies? Klingons?
Yes, you're right.
Hot dog.
Who was the legendary first emperor of the Klingon Empire?
It's going to be Bill Blair.
Yes, that's right, because I already went to the next one. It's actually Kalis.
Ah.
Okay, fine. Last one. Okay, it shows a picture here of some Klingons holding some stuff. And the question is, what are the swords called that the Klingons are holding? So imagine a picture of some Klingons, and they're holding something. What are they holding?
Is it a...
Yes, actually it is. It's a batleth. Okay.
I was going to say Bakhtar.
Okay.
I don't know where Bakhtar comes from. Maybe that's from...
I think it's some kind of dessert.
Galaxy Quest.
Maybe. Okay.
The Bakhtar.
There are a couple more questions. Maybe I'll ask them to you later.
Yeah, maybe you will.
Yeah. So, but so far, I think you only missed one. So I guess you passed Next Generation, and you're not required to watch it all again. Because you
that's good news.
passed the final. Okay. I guess we're ready to go into awards then. You have
Indeed,
them all
let's do.
filled out?
I do. Let's start.
How long did it take you anyway?
Several days.
It probably took me about 3 hours, like just with all the cut and pasting, like over a period of like 2 days.
I'm so proud of you, John, and
I
you're
know.
being able to do it so fast. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna start with award categories that some of you have sent in.
Yep.
And then we'll do a few augmentees that John sent in, and then we'll go on to the main categories.
Big list. First of all, we have a few of Nick's picks for awards and stuff like that. And I think if we have this correlated correctly, the first one is episodes in which Loxana Troy appeared. Is that right?
Best Loxana Troy episodes and worst Loxana Troy episodes. Although, do you want to do worse than best?
We
sure.
can do it that way. Sure.
Okay, let's do worse than best. Okay, do you want to give his pick?
Oh, I didn't write his pick down.
Oh, okay. I'm not. We got a lot of categories in from people. We didn't get a lot of their picks, which actually will probably make this go a little faster. But let's go with. Okay, so for me, worst Loxana Troy episode is Menage a Troy.
Oh. Really? Menage a Troy? But it has such a great
Yes.
name, and there's nudity.
Yeah, there is. It's not the good kind of nudity, and then it shows her pleasuring a Ferengi. It's bad.
That's true.
Real
That is really bad. But there is one that's far worse, and that's the one called Cost of Living, which is the one where she was in the mud bath, and she tells Alexander the most valuable life lesson of all, that sometimes it's important just to enjoy yourself.
That's pretty bad. That episode's probably going to rear its ugly head again.
Maybe, possibly. Okay, well, on the other hand, my favorite Loxana Troy episode is the episode called Half a Life, which I mostly liked because Charles Emerson Winchester from MASH is in it, and he plays this suicidal 65-year-old who has to kill himself ritualistically when he gets of that age.
I agree on that.
Do you?
It's
okay.
probably
That was, actually a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Kind of. It was sort of good. It might make an appearance on my top 10 list, actually.
Oh, boy, John.
Keyword might.
Okay, well, Menage a Troy might make an appearance on my top 10 list as well. So, okay, moving on to most entertaining shipwide ailment. Go ahead, John.
Okay. Okay, so there's only one, right? There's not a best and worst entertaining?
Yeah, just a best.
Okay, the most entertaining shipwide ailment was that one where they all got drunk and they all slept with each other. The Naked Now.
Naked Now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Barclay Syndrome from Genesis.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I'll be honest, I should have picked that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, you should have.
Okay. What was yours for best hair? Or worst hair? Do we do worst first? Worst hair.
Yeah, and I for the aliens, I stuck with like headdress things or heads. So but this is basically the humans. For my worst hair, I went with Data.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
My worst hair, I went with Tasha Yar.
It's pretty bad. I guess
pretty
it's
mannish.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best hair?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Deanna Troi.
Oh, don't you just want to sleep in her hair?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe live in it.
Although I considered Worf's berries and cream lab
pony?
hair. Yeah.
His berries and cream hair. No, she has luxurious locks, so I agree with you there. So.
Okay. Well, that was obvious.
All right, John. Worst alien headpiece.
The worst one is, if you remember right, the evil aliens in the game. I have them written down somewhere else. But you remember that woman seduced Riker and gave him that video game that got the ship addicted?
The Buttheadians.
Yes, the Buttheadians. I wasn't sure if you remembered her, but yes, definitely the Buttheadians in that, because she has a giant butt on her face, and that's the worst skull head alien design. What do you think?
Okay. I'm going to go with the Soleil from Lonely Among Us, and it's just like a giant cobra head. The entire upper half of their body is a cobra. They're a cobra.
So that was your worst?
That was my worst, yeah.
Okay, what's your best?
The Cardassians.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I should have picked Cardassians because strangely, out of all the aliens I picked for my best, I picked the Soleil from Lonely Among Us.
Oh.
Out of the hundreds of aliens, I picked your worst for my best.
Just looks like they slapped like a... Anyway, so
it looks cool though. Like on still, like just the picture looks cool.
Yeah, the people that didn't, the people that were fighting with the Soleil, their faces basically looked like dogs, like chihuahuas.
Oh, yeah.
That was right up there too. But my honorable mention for best alien head is the Bajorans, because it's simple yet effective.
Yeah, I would agree with that, except it's not effective.
Oh, okay then. All right.
Cardassians, though, that's good.
Most interesting one-time use, never again seen prop set piece, and I'm going to go with the bridge from yesterday's Enterprise. It rocked my socks.
Oh, nice. And it looks like I don't have something here.
Okay,
Shoot,
then
I'll have to make something up.
The Bajoran.
I will say the that talking pod in Haven that announced that Deanna Troi was about to get married, and it was just this box with a face on it, and the face was painted silver like the box, and it was that thing.
Okay. All right, John, what is your story episode with the closest to reality parallel?
Symbiosis, because it's close to reality about drugs.
Drugs will ruin everything. Everything. So, I'm going to go with family.
Oh, right.
Because, the whole episode was just about Picard back on the farm.
Right. And it was interesting because in the future, we in the brave new world that exists in the 24th century, it takes a village, and we're all socialist, and so it was actually a commentary on life back in the 20th century, because they don't really have families in the future.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know. It was almost like they were relating closely to us. So, no, family's good. Also,
John,
as an honorable mention, I put Force of Nature because they actually use the term climate change in the episode itself.
Ooh. Okay, John, it's been pointed out that the silver box with the silver face was actually played by someone. So
Quark.
Armin Shimmerman played Quark.
Who is a character in Deep Space Nine. That was what we forgot to say in announcements. At the end of this episode, we haven't said it yet. At the end of this episode, you're going to announce if you're going to do Deep Space Nine or not.
Bum, 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 bum. That's right. I think I read maybe 10 essays. There was an outpouring of essayness.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe how many people wrote in and said, you really shouldn't do Deep Space Nine. Like the majority of the essays, that was it.
I know, that's weird. Why would people even bother writing those?
Yeah, it seems like a waste of time for that essay. No, obviously everyone wants us to continue on. So we will discuss the various arguments, and then we'll bring that up. So anyway, That's for later. All right, John, my favorite only once seen alien, and I'm going with the bog monster from Skin of Evil.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I like that one.
Imagine if it talked, it would go.
I picked the Binars, which I don't really like very much, but I kind of like the concept of them, that their society is based on computer language, which I think is very sci-fi. 100 years from now, we're all going to look like the Binars. We're going to be paired with a 1 and a 0, and we're all going to speak binary because we're so computer literate by then.
All right, John, what is your least favorite one-time seen alien?
Okay, and these guys didn't bug me. I mean, no, they bugged me way worse than everybody else because a lot of people really liked this episode, and it was an okay episode. But the Cytherians from the Nth Degree...
I think they look so jolly. Or the one guy, anyway.
They're just they're so evil, right? It's like, la la la, I am too lazy to move from this section of my eccentric part of space, and so I will drag you over here, and it will be delightful.
Yeah.
They bugged me.
Well,
they bugged me.
Weird
old man floating head.
I'm getting a phone call. Hold on just a second. All right, John, I turned my phone off. My house phone is off.
Wow, that's commitment.
This is most important. Okay.
Do you want to know how committed I am to this podcast? I haven't had a house phone in 7 years.
That's commitment. Okay.
Yeah.
My least favorite only one-time seen alien is the Dauphin when she becomes the alien.
Oh, yeah.
The weird-looking... I don't know.
But then your favorite, right, is when she becomes Madchenamik. But I guess not.
No.
Okay.
Anyway.
Madchenamik. Oh, I forgot about her. She might make the Cuter Than Wesley in First Season award, which is coming up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, next
right.
one. I'll read this one. Okay, the worst main cast hookup, and then in parentheses, under duress or under other influence, possibly alternate reality or, quote, vision.
Oh, okay, so I'm doing it first.
So you go.
The worst main cast hookup. I'm doing Tasha and Data
Okay. Okay,
because she
good.
was wearing that crazy bad outfit, and then it was. Did she just? What'd she ask him? Did she ask him some weird question? And I don't. His response was, "I am fully functional,"
Yes.
and so apparently in his programming, he's also a gigolo.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And yeah, that seems kind of weird that would be programmed so that Dr. Soong would spend 5 years or whatever programming that. But well, and it's kind of weird because Data was looking for his humanity for 7 years. Why didn't they just get him
Yeah.
drunk again? Because he had all his emotions, he was able to satisfy a woman and everything, the whole 9 yards. It seems like he was pretty much there, right in that very, like what? That was like the second episode.
Yeah.
Oh well. Okay, my worst main cast hookup was Troy and Worf, but it was only the third time they hooked up, or maybe it was the second time, when they both de-evolved and mutated into a frog and an armored raping machine.
So that was the worst hookup when
Yeah.
they were.
It was pretty
de-evolved.
bad. I don't think I could stand for that. But the best hookup was in Conundrum when Ro and Riker hooked up because Ro said, well, we're probably married, so let's hook up.
Okay, now that I'm not sure this counts because it says main cast and this is recurring character. My favorite hookup is Barclay and Deanna.
Oh.
But
That's
and I
fun.
think we just leapt to the conclusion
Yes.
that there
Yes.
was a hookup.
Oh, nice.
But if that doesn't count because she's not main cast, then I'm gonna go ahead and go parallels Worf and Deanna.
I love how you said she's not main cast.
Oh,
So
because he's not.
Barkley's definitely the main cast, but Deanna Troy, I wouldn't call her main cast.
She's not. She's more of a recurring character.
Yeah.
Comes on every now and then. So, all right, that is. So, what's your? Oh, you already did yours. So that was all of Nick's categories. Nick,
Yep.
thank you very much.
Very good, Nick.
And now we're on to Joey Smith, who
Yes.
gave us one category, and it's a good one.
Yeah, well, we
And-
only picked one category from his because his other one kind of
Oh.
melded off into some other ones. But alien technology, best alien technology.
Yeah, and this one I had to. Doggone, I think I've kind of been won over on this one, but I'm just gonna have to go with the Ferengi subspace shield penetrating transporter because it's really an absolutely revolutionary alien technology.
Yeah, I actually went with Ferengi subspace shield penetrating beaming technology. Myself.
Okay.
It's
Well, there you
It's beyond the pale, whatever that means. I don't even know what that term means. I think I used it incorrectly. But it's right out.
go. It's right. It's right out. Okay. You know that we're feeling our oats when we start quoting the Holy Grail, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so Tim E has given us a few categories.
All right. The least
And
plausible
go ahead.
action from Data. Is that
Go
next,
ahead.
right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Well, I'm asking the question to you.
Okay. Not destroying all mankind and taking over the galaxy. Or at least attempting. That's the
Oh,
least
so pretty much
plausible
just
action.
okay. That's an interesting way to put it. The least plausible action. See, because okay, you took it in a different direction. You took it with the assumption that he's the murdering, killing machine, and
Oh, yes, he is.
I took it with like, if he's really so good, why would he do this? So like, my least plausible is, just is actually evidence that he would take over the universe.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Which is in the most toys when he's beaming out and then he tries to kill Kivas Fajo, and he was unsuccessful. And then they say, Data, it appears you fired your phaser trying to kill that guy. And Data said, oh, it must be wrong. I am lying to you right now. And Data lies. Yeah.
Big fat liar. Big fat liar.
I really got stuck up on that for a long time.
Yeah. Well, it's a pattern. It's the beginning of a pattern of deception.
Yep.
So, John, what is the action most likely to result in an ejection from Starfleet?
Okay. Just picture this whole scenario here. Say you're
Okay.
Captain Picard, and you have two dignitaries from an alien planet staying, like, not well. Are they on the board the ship? Well, you're escorting two dignitaries who are running for office for world leaders, and there are two of them. And then your security chief beams over to one of the ships and stabs the guy in the chest, one of these candidates. I mean, talk about international, like, intergalactic incident. But yeah, I'm voting for when Worf beams over and kills Duras.
That's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that. So mine is similar. I'm gonna go ahead and go with stabbing a fellow officer, and I'm citing phantasms.
Phantasms.
Again, murdering data. There's the real obvious one that happens all the time. You disobeying the prime directive. I can't count that because no one actually cares. It's like the law that just giggles about.
Well, it's kind of like speeding. Everybody does it. So eventually, like, the force of it, the weight of it just kind of wears off after, the 20th episode where you see it happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's kind of weird. You would think that Starfleet doesn't look too kindly on stabbing, but apparently you can just stab anybody. Like, stabbing's okay. Maybe that's why they stab. Like, if you phasered somebody, that would be really bad. But if you just stabbed them, oh no, you can stab people. I mean, we're not going to throw people in prison for that. What is this? The Middle Ages? Go ahead, stab whoever you want.
Oh man, that's good fun.
Okay,
Well,
your
all right.
least annoying Loxana moment.
Okay, I can't really pinpoint anything, but there probably had to be a point at which either she was asleep or she was off screen and they were talking about her.
Okay,
So there you go.
that may have happened.
Yeah,
Although I don't know, we don't have any proof that she even sleeps, do we?
I don't know.
I just put when she was dating Charles from MASH, but only
Okay.
up to the point where she gives the speech on the stupid hats that the planet wears. Because she gives this weird hat speech that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that wraps up Tim's categories. Next, we have a couple of categories from Trent.
Trent Cole,
Yes.
which is a great name. Trent Cole.
Yeah, it's almost like Trent Steele.
Trent Steele. Oh boy.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, Max Power. My name is Trent Steele. You don't have to wait in line. You've got a great name. Okay. Trent
Best-
says first category.
Best scientific discovery. Go,
Yes.
John.
I just put Dyson Sphere because
pretty
he
good.
actually asked it in the question. I'm like, yeah, the Dyson Sphere, that'll work.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go with transporter stasis, which is apparently it has no time limit, and I'm taking it from Relics,
Right.
where Scotty just threw himself in the buffer and was there for several hundred years.
Yeah, you could totally just like Rumpelstiltskin it up and see what the future's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no rewind, but hopefully the future's good. But I mean,
Seriously,
people should do that.
when people are about to die on a regular basis, when people are about to die, they should just throw them in the buffer.
yeah,
I figure, we'll give it a few years. We'll figure out how to.
we'll
how to deal
we'll
with that
take
later.
you out of the buffer just as soon as we find a cure for 17 stab wounds in the back.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
right.
I had another one for this one.
Okay.
I had the least credible scientific discovery.
Oh, okay.
And that was in the episode The Neutral Zone when they found the 3 human losers from the 21st century, I think.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. They were like in cryogenics, which is kind of like the pattern buffer, but less safe.
All right. So are you
Time
ready
travel
for
episodes.
least favorite, Time Zero 2.
Oh, really? Mine was A Matter of Time, starring Max Headroom, and a very moronic crew of the Enterprise.
Why don't I even remember that?
Remember Max Headroom? Rasmussen. He's a time traveler.
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
and he started stealing stuff, and he was actually just a petty thief from the 22nd century, 21st century or sometime. Okay, but my favorite, well, My favorite is
ahead.
actually a different episode, but I'm not going to use it. But I do like Timescape. Which
Timescape.
no, not Timescape. I'm changing my mind on the fly. I'm going to go Times Squared.
Times
Isn't that one?
Squared.
Because I like it because it's where you meet yourself from a different future and you talk to yourself and you reason with yourself like Captain Picard did, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Firstborn because
Oh, right.
it's not a real heavy time travel episode, and you only figure out that time travel is a part of it at the end. I love at the end though when the time travel was discovered as how stuff happened. That it was like, how did you accomplish such a thing as this so-called time traveling? But I
took
love
the
it
time
because-
travel bus.
Yeah, because we know that time travel happened in this, and it was done in order to change the past. But you know what, John? You can't change fate, and maybe we shouldn't even be trying.
Yeah.
By the way, in the show Glee, I love that actress that plays the Cheerios, the head cheerleader lady. What's her
Jane
name?
Lynch, of course. She's great.
Oh, she is so awesome. Anyway, so there we go, John. Did you say your worst time travel episode or your best? What's your best? No, you did. You did.
Yeah, I did.
Times Squared, right?
Yeah. No, wait. Okay.
You can do the
did
Willis
you not
first.
do the best worst seriously weapon system that was only seen once?
You know, I didn't. Best and worst that was only seen once.
I thought you did.
No, but if you have answers for those, go for it.
Okay, I'll do my answers because I think my answers are pretty important.
Okay.
First, the worst, the Ferengi foam laser whips.
Okay.
And then the best that we only saw once, the Sitaran amnesia ray in Conundrum.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, those were both sweet, worth mentioning.
Okay. All right. Do you want to do the Willis next?
Okay.
Okay. Now, our friend and listener Jake Willis submitted some categories, and I didn't know how to deal with them. In fact, it made me cry. But John was brave, and so
Yeah.
John, I'm gonna let you take it.
Here, do you want to read them to me?
You go ahead,
Oh, because you don't have them?
because I don't have them.
Okay. The Congratulations You Aren't James Tiberius Kirk Award. Which, yeah, what do you do there?
I'm not even sure what that means.
Yeah. I picked using the forbidden, the crazy technology that we'd never seen used, the main deflector dish technology on the Borg, and having it accomplish nothing! Absolutely nothing! That's the Congratulations You Aren't James Tiberius Kirk Award, awarded to Riker for firing the main deflector dish in that one.
That's pretty good.
Okay, the Whoopi Goldberg Award can be awarded to the most awkward and out-of-place casting job during the whole series, and I went with James Worthy, who played the giant mute Klingon in Gambit, Part 1 or 2. And then the Cuter Than Will Wheaton in Season 1 award, which can be awarded to anyone cuter than Will in Season 1. So this was tricky, because he was the cutest person in Season 1.
Yeah.
But I went with Rhonda Ulrich as the secretary in The Big Goodbye. You remember her? She looked like Victoria Jackson a little bit.
Ooh.
Okay, the Best Data Moment award. You didn't really even have a best data moment?
Well, for the best data moment award, I'm probably gonna. I think my favorite might have been when he stabbed Troy in the chest.
Okay, well, I had when he told that woman that her son is dead and hates her. Your son is dead, but if he were alive, he would hate you.
Yeah,
That was
he
probably
would.
the best data moment, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Okay, the best episode where Ashley Judd made a guest appearance. I have the game, and you have nothing, right?
No, I'll submit for this one too because I think I can. Let me just gonna have to go with the game. That's probably the winner there.
Okay, and that's all I have. I didn't really have another answer there. Okay, so those are the Jake Willis ones that we didn't know what to do with, but that was pretty good.
Okay. All right. Now we have some Josh Fillmore awards, and I'm pretty sure that this email was mostly making fun of us, since I've been being made fun of from Josh Fillmore for the last 33 years. But all in fun. So let's see. Basically, he wants to know who would win in fights. So the Romulans and the Jawas. I think I'm gonna have to go with the Romulans because they're taller. Although it's hard to argue the strength in numbers. If you had like a swarm of Jawas, perhaps. I don't know.
Well, no, I went with the Jawas because if you noticed, the way he phrased it, he said the Romulan and the Jawas. So he was
there
only
you go.
speaking of one Romulan. So if all the Jawas had to fight one Romulan, I'd go with the Jawas.
Okay. Well, there you go. Now let's see. Next one is Picard versus Steve Irwin. What do you got, John?
I went with Picard because Steve Irwin is dead.
That's a fine argument. I'm going to go with the idea that Steve Irwin, the once alive Steve Irwin, because on the other hand, Picard is also fictional. So I'm sorry. Did I just say something?
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I never really acknowledged that till now. That's kind of a good point, if it's true.
If it's true. So I'm going to go ahead and go with, even though Picard looks like he keeps himself in good shape, I'm going to go with Steve Irwin because, that guy, he was a scrapper.
Yeah, he really was.
He wrestled at alligators and crocodiles and other various deadly animals.
Okay. Crusher versus the late Estelle Getty.
Are we
From Golden
talking
Girls.
Estelle Getty at the age she was in the Golden Girls?
Well, he phrased it the late Estelle Getty.
So she's dead. Okay, it's probably Crusher.
Yeah, definitely Crusher on this one because zombie Getty, she was kind of frail in real life, so zombie Getty is probably even frailer. But seriously though, if it was Estelle Getty in her not so much prime, but as she was on Golden Girls, I can totally picture her sneaking up behind Crusher and snapping her neck somehow.
Okay. All right. How about the Borg versus Chud, which is cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers, which if you've ever seen the movie, they're like industrial-sized garbage bags with flashlights for eyes. But
I'll go with the Borg on this one.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go with Chud because I think it would be like chimpanzees going crazy. The Borg, they're slow and methodical, but the Chud would just... they can't be stopped. According to Daniel Stern, they can't be stopped.
I never saw Chud. I should.
John, how did you understand the episode in New York with the Simpsons? When he
Simpsons.
Said, then the Chuds came out.
Chud's gone. Oh, Homer, you can't blame New York just on the pimps and the Chuds.
Oh, okay. All right. So what's the next one?
Klingon versus Tyranid.
I don't even know what Tyranid is.
I meant to look this up. I'm going to Google it really, really quick because I'm curious. Because I know
Okay.
Josh has something up his sleeve here. Tyranid. Is it some Doctor Who thing?
I don't know. I'll go on to the next one while you're looking that up. It's
Okay.
Data versus Dolph Lundgren in the cage. And I hate doing this because Dolph Lundgren's awesome, but I think Data it's acknowledged that if he wanted to, like, he could like kill anybody, right? I mean, he's kind of indestructible, murderous. However, if Dolph Lundgren were given some inside information and was told where the off switch is, Data does have that off switch, which is a real Achilles heel. But I'm gonna probably go Data on this one.
I went with Data because Dolph Lundgren's in a cage. The way I read this, Data versus
Okay.
Dolph Lundgren in a cage.
In a cage. Okay.
Yeah. He just
All right.
phases him. He just shoots his phaser at him, like Data's wont to do.
Or picks up the cage and throws it off a cliff or something.
Okay, so I just looked up Tyranid,
Uh-huh.
and it like doesn't exist, but it did one of those like Google "Did you mean" things, and it said "Did you mean Tyrannid," which is a fictional race from Warhammer 40,000 tabletop.
Wow, I have no idea. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and go with Klingon.
Yeah, me
Just-
too. Because all they have to do is just knock the Warhammer 40,000 tabletop game off. Just like knock it over.
Okay, what's the next one?
Sulu versus Swamp Thing.
Did you ever see the Swamp Thing?
I never saw Swamp Thing. Yeah, no.
Oh my gosh. No, okay, you seriously... Okay, what was the other one you haven't seen? We were just
Chud?
discussing. Yeah, okay, so seriously, you need to queue up Chud and the Swamp Thing immediately.
Double feature. That sounds like a good one. Yeah. Well, what'd you say?
I gotta go with the Swamp Thing because he has unnatural strength and... now, I guess it depends on if they were on dry land because he kind of thrives in the swamp. Also, if he were in outer space because, if he was in complete darkness because the Swamp Thing thrives on the sun because he's a plant, sort of. But I think all in all, we're going Swamp Thing here.
Well, I go Sulu. I think Sulu would just go, hello, and then, get behind Swamp Thing because in that grab that he did in Star Trek 3 to that big guy with the mustache. It was very homoerotic. And, or get a sword out and just. Although, wait, I don't know why that has nothing to do with Next Generation, though. So maybe we should throw that question out. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Josh's last, quote, question. I would also like to see a race between Riker and a gorilla. Well, that's not really a question. That's more of a statement. Who wouldn't like to see a race?
Yeah, so the answer is agreed.
Agreed. I would just like to see a cute little crash helmet stuck on the gorilla, when they get in their little go-karts, because I imagine that's what the race is, like a little go-kart with the gorillas and a cute little helmet, go-kart helmet.
Yeah.
So, okay.
All right. Now we have John's categories, right? Yours.
Yeah. These are some of the ones I thought of last minute. Okay. What is the worst and the best alien ship?
This was hard for me because there's like a huge, on Memory Alpha, there's like a huge database of all the alien ships, and as I was looking through, I'm like, okay, that looks a lot like that and that and that. So, worst alien ship, this is good. You're going to say I'm cheating because it's not really alien, but I'm going to go with the Enterprise D.
Really? Because it looks like a sink?
Yeah, it's I know they were trying to modernize the look of the Enterprise, but it took a real step backwards.
Okay, my worst is actually the Cardassian ships, or one of the Cardassian ships. It actually looks like a shovel, like just a big shovel.
That's
But
funny.
my favorite is the Ferengi ships. I think look really cool. They're kind of brown, and they're swept forward and kind of like spiky and just kind of really sleek and smooth looking, but then kind of sharp on the wings. I think it's pretty cool.
Well, for my best, I feel almost like I'm copping out. I'm just going to go ahead and go with the Klingon bird of prey.
Yeah.
Nice, sleek, classic design.
The little one, right? Not the Klingon cruiser. The bird of prey that they had in Star Trek 3 that's with the wings swept down, kind of diagonal.
The one you see every time you see a Klingon bird of prey. That's the one I'm talking about.
All right, fine. Because there is the Klingon cruiser that Kim Peck was on that's like way bigger, and it doesn't look as cool.
Okay, then definitely the smaller one. Okay, John, the ugliest alien race.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Dreamin' from Pen Pals, which is sad because it was a little girl, but she was the ugliest little girl.
Yeah,
those gross fingers and
pretty unattractive. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Janai. The Janai.
Janai. Oh wait, those are the androgynous ones?
Yes, from Outcast.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad. Oh, they weren't too bad. They weren't too bad.
Okay.
You're just looking at the haircut, right? Like that is a horrible haircut. Like
it's a pretty bad
what
haircut.
unisex salon did you get that haircut in?
Now, from the prettiest aliens, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Kryosans from The Perfect Mate. And it's not just Famke Janssen, but it showed several Kryosans, and they're all pretty attractive.
Oh.
Not to mention, I know we're going strictly by physical attributes here, but also, the whole metamorph thing, that's pretty cool.
That's true.
But
that's
anyway,
obvious.
All the Kryosans were attractive, and
Yeah.
she was really darn attractive, so...
I went with the Hellions, which I think this
Are
is
they on the
paralleling
Justice Planet?
Hawaiians. No, they're not from the Justice Planet.
Oh.
But the Hellions, they were in the episode Aquiel. Remember Aquiel? Yet another girl that Geordi fails with.
Is she a Hellion?
She's a Hellion, yes. And she's very cute.
All right,
she just has little ridges.
Okay.
As an honorable mention, I did the Angels from the episode Angel 1, which is the planet controlled by Amazon women.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so what's next?
The coolest/lamest special effect.
Okay.
So lame first?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Crazy Straws from Emergence.
Ooh, that's a good one. The life form that's Crazy Straws.
Yeah, look at this new life form. We found it in our Burger King Happy Meal.
I am going to put in Genesis when the crew was de-evolving, but then when Data's cat de-evolved, they didn't change the cat with makeup like they did the rest of the crew. They just just stick a lizard on the set. Just go ahead and bring that lizard over and replace it with that cat. Just put that lizard where that cat was. Yeah. There we go. That's good enough.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty stupid.
Yep.
Pretty stupid.
My favorite, actually, I had a really hard time because we spent so much time thinking oh, look at that effect, that was kind of lame. I couldn't think of one where we were like, wow, that was a really cool effect. But continuing on with the lizard theme, when Geordi changed into an invisible lizard, and when you actually see him, it's not that cool, but when he's running through the hallway and he looks like Predator, and you could just kind of see the invisibleness of him, that's what I liked.
Okay, well, there you go. I'm going to go with the Enterprise cloaking and phasing in Pegasus.
Yeah, that crossed my mind, yeah.
It may not even have been cool. I don't remember what it looked like when it happened. It seemed neat.
It's just the Enterprise is cloaking. And that's what's so interesting. Yeah. And phasing. You're right. Okay. Now, you're the worst Doctor on the Enterprise D.
We have a worst? I thought it was just a best.
No, there's a worst Doctor category.
The worst Doctor. Okay, the lady that came on and was performing experiments on people.
In ethics?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember her name. But yeah, okay. She was a pretty bad Doctor. I actually went with Dr. Pulaski from the second season.
Okay.
She was old, and she was racist against robots.
Yeah, that's true. So, John, then who's the best Enterprise D Doctor?
Dr. Solar.
Night Doctor. Yeah,
yep.
I agree. I also put Dr. Solar Night Doctor.
Of course, Dr. Solar Night Doctor. Yes.
Oh.
Okay, next. Okay, are we... This is just to our big list now. Okay.
No. I threw these on as a last-minute John add-on. So we're going to do the worst Twilight Zone episode and the best. Oh. So, John, worst Twilight Zone episode.
Okay, hang on. I got to go into an email here because I just got a great email from David. David from Yale, or at least with the Yale email address. Because he actually sent in a list. We should probably post this email because this is... we barely got this in, but he had a list of best Romulan episodes, best Klingon episodes, and best Twilight episodes, which I'm looking at here. Okay, so the worst Twilight episode...
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to go with Clues.
Oh, okay.
Remember, that's the one where only Data knew what was going on, but they had to avoid the race that was xenophobic and was going to kill him if they found out, and so... But then... they found that their bones were broken without them knowing, and plants were growing, and it was actually a day later and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's interesting. So my worst is Frame of Mind. Mostly just because of Riker's extreme overacting. And it makes me tired.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of have a place in my heart for Frame of Mind because I love seeing the screen shatter. And that's always fun.
That was a great special effect, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The greatest special effect. Okay, so what is your favorite Twilight Zone episode?
Well, the episode itself wasn't super good, but just specifically, like just thinking in the category Twilight Zone episodes.
Uh-huh.
I liked the one... Oh, I can't even remember what it's called now.
I do.
It's the one where they can't get to sleep. And they start seeing, like, they start hallucinating. And they start... And Crusher is...
Night Terrors?
Yeah, Night Terrors.
Interesting.
It's not like all these other ones, like Remember Me and Conundrum and even Frame of Mind and the one... What's the one where they get captured by the aliens who like cut them on the side? Actually, that one's really good. Maybe I should pick that one. The one where they imagine that metal table with that serrated saw and they're cutting their arms off. And is that Night Terrors?
That's not Night Terrors.
I can't remember which ones. Okay, but there are those two. Everybody knows which two episodes I'm talking about. But I do like the one where they hallucinate because they can't sleep, because Crusher's hanging out in the morgue and all the bodies just sit up. And that's just really scary. But then the other one is really scary because it's alien abduction. It's like a remake of Fire in the Sky, and that one's really good. So those two episodes, I think, are my favorite.
Okay. Well, John, I'm going to go ahead and go with probably Remember Me. I really liked Remember Me.
I know. I remember. I thought you'd go with Remember Me. That was the first. That's what started the whole Twilight Zone episode. Whoops. Sorry, I dropped my phone.
Think how disconcerting that would be.
I know. Yeah.
Everyone just like telling you stuff that's like not that is not true, and it'd be crazy. Doggone it. So, honorable mention to Parallels. I really liked Parallels too.
Yeah, Parallels is good. Okay, now we're in the big list, right?
It is time for the big list.
All right. The best... Oh, let's do worst title. I had a 3-way tie, just so you know.
Okay. This one came up immediately. I didn't have to go through and scan through all of them. I think I did for the best, but the worst, I'm just going to go with the outrageous O'Connor.
I should have picked that one.
Outrageous. Outrageous.
Oh, outrageousness. My worst was a 3-way tie between Sarek, Ensign Ro, and Aquiel. It was just...
because they're just names.
They're just names of people in the episode. Weak.
That's funny. What's your favorite?
Okay, my favorite... Actually, there were a lot that I really liked. I'm looking at my list right now. I'm just going to go ahead and say...
That was a good
Skin of Evil.
Okay, that's pretty darn good. I'm gonna go ahead and along similar lines, I'm choosing The Devil's Due.
Really? Oh, that was on my list. I'm looking at my list right now. Like Devil's Due. I almost picked Devil's Due because it was like, okay, you got the alliteration. Plus, it's like taking this term and just literalizing it for the sake of the episode, you know?
Yeah.
Like literalizing some old expression, which I think is kind of cool. But on my honorable mention list, A Fistful of Datas, I, Borg, The Icarus Factor, that's pretty good. Up the Long Ladder, which I almost chose, Samaritan Snare, and Menage a Troy. Menage a Troy probably is the best title in that, but... Ooh, this is a big one. What is your best technology? No, what is your worst technology? We do worst. Yeah.
Okay. I don't recall the episode, but in the medical bay, you have these things that people are inside these containers, and there's like a shield so that their sickness can't get out. Now, you stick your hand in the containers, and your hands get all infected, but when your hand comes out of the container, you're de-infected. Unfortunately... that hole is too small to drag that person's body back out. That seems like the worst conceived technology.
It certainly is. You're correct. Yeah, I think that's in Q-Who, actually. Because there was like a kid who was dying in Q-Who that they had to get. So Yeah. Okay. No, you're right. That's the best one. Or the worst one, of course. I just picked virtual reality from Interface because it was fresh on my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
But are
what's
you
your
ready
best?
for my best technology? Yeah.
I totally am.
Okay. And this is awesome. It was a technology that Moriarty came up with on the holodeck, and it was his, quote, complete control of the ship holodeck lever, that he just pulled the lever, kind of like the Conan O'Brien Walker Texas Ranger lever, and then the ship would just do crazy things. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Just a big lever. Just, oh yeah? Well, I'll make the ship turn left and go somewhere. And he pulls the lever. There's like only one way to pull it. Like, how much control can he possibly have? But he had it because he was Moriarty.
Oh man, that's great. For my best/favorite technology, I just went with the holodeck because seriously, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could have picked the holodeck and then I could have included the lever as a subset, but I really wanted to pick the lever. Okay, what is your worst planet?
My worst planet, and I gotta tell you, for the best planet, I went through and I looked at them all, and I tried to like be clever about it. But the best planet, anyway, worst planet is Kalon from Half a Life because they all they've got the mandatory suicide date, and the planet's about to be destroyed anyway. Just not where you want to be.
Yeah, totally. My worst planet, I didn't think of that one. That one's a good one. My worst planet is the one, I didn't write it down, but it was the one in Force of Nature with those two annoying environmentalist siblings who were there. And also there's no way to get to the planet, like on and off the planet. You can't leave. Well, you can leave the planet, but you can't go anywhere else because you can't do warp around the planet at all. So
That's a pretty bad planet. Okay, what's your favorite planet, John?
Well, I guess I could go with Risa, but I'm actually going to go with the Justice Planet in the Rubicon system because they kind of skip a lot of the, like, Risa people are just fully clothed right there, and then you eventually have to get their clothing off. But the Justice Planet, you don't even need to do that. Plus, since everyone has this huge fear of getting killed, there are no broken laws. So it seems like it would be great.
Okay, here's my argument for Risa over the Justice Planet. One, in Risa, you don't have to worry about seeing the scantily clad men. Which I get
true.
it. We want to be fair for the women. That's fine. But man, I don't think I could handle that much time. So also, on Risa, there's probably not the fear of being killed if you trip on your shoelace and fall on a flower bed.
Yeah.
I just think that the trade-off isn't real good there on the Justice Planet. But there is a whole lot of oil and a whole lot of not very much clothes. So
See?
You got to take the good with the bad. So that's so there's that. So let's see. Now, John, what is your least favorite use of the holodeck?
Probably in the episode Emergence, when they were on the Orient Express and they had to collect stuff from holodeck characters.
That just felt like a poorly conceived video game that you might download it as freeware, and that's anyway. My least favorite use of the holodeck, although there's a sadistic pleasure in this, is Geordi's Leia Brahms fantasies on the holodeck because it's just so. It just shows how pathetic Geordi is.
Yeah, it does.
It's really one of the greatest moments in Star Trek when the real Leia Brahms stumbles upon that holodeck program.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, iconic. Okay, well, what's the best use of the holodeck?
CSI Lab. In the
was
alien
that
abduction
in
episode.
A Matter of Perspective? That one?
No. Although they use it for that too. So, I'm talking about in the one where they're abducted by the aliens and they go, there was a table, and the holodeck says, not specific enough. There was a metal table, and then all of a sudden it's like exactly the style of metal table they want. I mean, it knows. It knows.
Dang it! What is the name of that episode? Because we've mentioned it twice already.
There was a stabby arm like this. Yes. There were holes in the table. I thought it was fantastic. Okay, one of our friends in chat. That's your job. You know what episode we're talking about. Tell us what it's called.
Yes, thank you, Jim. Please do that.
Did you do your best use of the holodeck, John?
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm going to go with what they did, what Moriarty did to them in Ship in a Bottle to make them think they weren't in the holodeck. And then they did the same thing to Moriarty later. But I also have a special place in my heart for just Barclay's holodeck program where he reprogrammed all the members of the crew because he hated them all. And they were all in like these weird positions. Like, first of all, Crusher and Troy were objects of lust, and then Riker was this little midget, and then Wesley was this spoiled painting character, the blue boy. He was just this bratty kid, which was funny. Ooh, we're getting to some good ones here. What is your... Let's see, we did Planet, right? Okay, your worst data malfunction.
I'm not sure I'm going to call this a malfunction, but it's when Data is all set to sacrifice the entire Enterprise for the exocomps in quality of life.
Yeah, I guess it's not officially a malfunction.
So illogical. If he's doing it because he's following logic and like whatever is supposed to go on in his head, it doesn't work at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And anyway, it angers me. Go ahead.
I understand, yeah. Okay, my least favorite, or, well, the worst. It's not my least favorite because it was hilarious. Oh, by the way, we just heard Schisms is the episode that we couldn't think of with the metal table where they cut their arms off and stuff. That's a good episode. But yeah, my least favorite... No, not my least favorite, sorry. My worst data malfunction was in Phantasms when he stabbed Troy.
Oh, man, that was pretty good.
Okay, but my best malfunction? The best malfunction of Data was in Brothers when Dr. Soong called him home, and he had that, like, homing program where just, like, that took priority, and then he took over the Enterprise, and there was this big, long sequence at the front where he took over the Enterprise, and he locked them out, and he just outthought everybody on the Enterprise, showing how dangerous he is.
Yeah, I picked that one, too, and isn't it amazing how quickly... It's terrifying how quickly he can completely take over the Enterprise, and everyone is just powerless.
Yeah.
Like, in a matter of seconds, the Enterprise was his, and no one else could do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Scary.
It wakes me up at night.
Yes, it does. John, the worst alien race.
I'm going to go with the Talarians in Suddenly Human, because they captured that human kid, and... It seemed like they committed a lot of child abuse to him, but they're like, oh, that's just our way. That's just what we do, kind of thing. But he gets trapped and stuff. And plus, their best leisure activity is running alongside the
river. Oh, I knew you were going to mention the river. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Packlids.
They were on there. I thought about them.
Because they're just terrible. They're like really, really stupid. They're like really, really stupid bullies. But then like once they're bullying you, it's almost like being slapped around with a foam pad because it's not that bad, but it just doesn't stop, and it just would be so annoying.
Yeah, I kind of have a hard time with the believability of the Packlids because if any other alien race, like besides the Federation, ever encountered them, they would just kill them. They're just like, you shouldn't be living.
Okay. Well, all right, John. That means my favorite alien race is the Creosans.
And they are...
Especially the ones that are the Metamorphs. The Metamorph Creosans.
Oh, right. Okay, that's funny.
You should learn to be exactly what it takes to make me happy. You should conform yourself to me.
Yeah, no, that's... Oh,
go Metamorphs.
You're right. I didn't have it, but I did have a different morph. I have the Elasomorphs that fell in love, that teddy bear that fell in love with Wesley Crusher. But they can change into anything, and you gotta see them change. And like Wesley was looking at him, and he's like, "Wow, the effect that you guys change with looks really cheesy, but that's kind of cool." worst metaphorical villain. What was your worst metaphorical villain?
Mud bathing.
Okay, very good. Mud
Which
bathing
in
is
some,
horrible.
in some context wouldn't be a villain. There can be good mud bathing, but the way it was employed in Star Trek The Next Generation was absolutely insidious.
Yeah, you'd think it wouldn't be bad, but they found a way. Okay,
Oh.
I almost went with this one. The lack of cohesion in the writing teams from a part 1 of an episode to the part 2 of the episode the following season. That was almost my worst villain.
That's good.
But I ultimately just went with the Prime Directive.
The Prime Directive. Okay.
And my best metaphorical villain? Memories.
Memories.
Some of them were planted, but memories nonetheless.
Yeah.
I can't remember which episode I was thinking of that, but it seems like it came up a lot. That memories of something like really presented a problem to someone in the episode today.
Yeah. Nick just joined us in chat, and Nick, you'll be pleasantly surprised when you go back and listen to this podcast. So
Yeah.
There you go, Mike. Okay, my favorite metaphorical villain, because it's so relevant to today, and I think I put this in there because it simply had to be mentioned. It was drugs. Not just once,
yes.
not
It's
just once, but twice was drugs the villain.
Oh, you have to pick it. Okay.
Okay, John, your worst real villain.
Okay, and this is why I didn't pick the Pack-Leds for the worst race. But
Because they're okay.
because they were the worst real villain, and it was just the Pack-Led crew and the Pack-Led ship in Samaritan Snare, because it was horrible, and they're horrible, and gosh, what a horrible episode.
Okay, for my worst real villain, I really also could have put this as the best real villain, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Data,
Oh,
because
of course. Dang it.
he's like one of the biggest villains on the show, but they just keep pretending that it's not happening.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Fox Jim makes a fine point. If I really wanted to be a little better about it, I would say Lore, because I hated Lore. I'll say it. I
Really?
hated Lore. So anyway, there
Don't
you
you
go. What's...
hate Lore? Because he might make another appearance.
Ooh, on your favorite villain list, John, who's your best real villain?
No, I mean in Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Well, yeah.
Okay, my best villain?
Although, am I supposed to go best first?
No,
I
you
say
go best first. Yeah, what, JR, what is your best real villain?
Gol Madred. Gol Madred!
Why didn't I go first?
Because I'm a
Now it's
winner.
going to seem
Winners
like I
win.
copied you by picking Gol Madred.
So did you just copy me or what?
No,
That's
I didn't
pretty-
copy
that's
you. I
pathetic.
thought of Gol Madred all by myself because he is the best
Okay.
villain.
Okay, if you say so.
David Warner. Very excellent actor.
All right.
And I sounded Australian there for some reason. But no, Gol Madred was evil. Evil.
You're next.
With worst guest?
Yes, and I'm going with Joe Piscopo,
Are you serious?
who had a very brief appearance. I don't remember the episode, but he was trying to help Data become a comedian.
It was in
And
the
it was-
Outrageous O'Connor.
It was pretty bad.
Because that's exactly what I picked. I picked Joe Piscopo.
Oh, man, that is awesome.
I almost felt bad because it's not like I hate Joe Piscopo, but it was horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
comedians are supposed to be funny, right?
Yeah. Okay, so John, what was your best guest? Best
My
guest.
best guess probably... Well, I feel bad for not picking Leonard Nimoy, but I actually didn't pick Leonard Nimoy. And I didn't pick DeForest Kelley, and I didn't pick James Doohan either. I didn't pick any of the original cast members, but I did go with James Sloyan as Alastair Jirok in The Defector. I just thought he was a really good character, and it was acted really well.
Yeah. James Sloan was on my list, and I was super tempted to do McCoy.
Yeah.
But in the end, I had to go with the incomparable Leonard Nimoy, John.
Yeah.
So,
I feel so bad. Leonard, if you're out there, I apologize.
yeah, he's listening to this podcast, and right now he's thinking, darn you, John, darn you.
It's like
So
just the one glimpse. He's just like randomly on the internet. He comes across us, and then like that happens, and then he's like, "I will bring them down."
okay, John.
Who is the worst name? Your worst name?
Your worst name. You start.
My
don't
worst
you?
name? I start?
I can't remember.
Okay. My worst name, I know you'll think of a better one than this, but I went with Vash. Picard's
Gosh,
Robin Hood girlfriend, Vash.
because it sounds kind of like an affliction or a disease or something. I don't know.
It does, which is weird because it's part of the word ravish,
Uh,
but
okay,
it's not.
I went with Guinan because it kind of sounds like some
Guy?
sort of fishy female part that you would talk about in biology, and I always feel uncomfortable saying Guinan.
Yeah. Jim in the chat says the worst name is Q.
Gynecologist. There you go. Worst name Q. It's pretty good.
Gynecologist, yeah, perfect. Yeah, but Q is only part of a name, so we should have thought of that. It's also kind of not the most interesting letter.
Yeah.
Okay, but your best name.
Oh, John, I hope I'm stealing your thunder again. And I've been won over on this one, and the best name in all of the next generation is Croesus.
Oh, you beat me.
I'll let you say it your cool way, though.
Croesus.
There you go.
Croesus the Dementor. Croesus, someone get me a cape. I will serve lore to the last of my days, which is today. Croesus. Okay. I had to get Croesus in.
Okay.
Okay, the worst two-parter.
Time zero.
Times Arrow. You're correct.
Okay. Best two-parter, John.
Best two-parter. I'm going to go with Chain of Command.
Chain of Command.
Oh, well, that was easy.
Yeah. Okay. Worst cliffhanger.
Okay, I might be cheating on this one, but I'm going to go the first season episode called Conspiracy, because it was one where there were the worms in people, and they killed them all, and they went back to Federation headquarters, and they were there. But then at the end of the episode, there's like, it's a tracking beam. They're headed to Earth, and then at the end of the episode, you hear this beep, 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 as if like the message was going out. But then there was never a part 2 of that episode.
John, that's a fine choice and fine reasoning. If you had to pick a standard two-parter and you were choosing your worst cliffhanger, what would you have said? I like your reasoning though, and we can even go there. There you go. We'll just stop. That's the worst cliffhanger. You make a fine point.
Times Arrow. Yeah, whatever.
Okay. So no. What is your favorite cliffhanger?
Okay, but my favorite cliffhanger was, where is it? Best cliffhanger. Yeah, Best of Both Worlds, actually.
Yeah. I would say that my favorite cliffhanger has not yet happened, but the Best of Both Worlds was my choice as well. I mean, it ended so great.
Yes.
And then the second one, anyway.
See, it's interesting because it was not my favorite second parter. It was not my favorite first parter. It was not in my favorite episodes, but just the in-between, the exact cliffhanger part was the best. And then 5 minutes after the second part started, then, it was gone, whatever. But the actual literal moment of the cliffhanger, that's what made it the best cliffhanger.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic moment.
Yes.
So, fire the deflector dish. So,
yes.
All right. What's next?
Your worst part 2 resolutioner.
Best of Both Worlds, part 2.
I picked Best of Both Worlds part 2. Do you want to know
Okay.
what my best part 2 was?
Yes.
Chain of Command part 2.
Chain of Command, part 2. Hold on.
Yeah, I knew we'd think the same there, definitely. Okay, here's a good one. The worst Deanna love interest.
I'm going to go ahead and go with Rawl because it was just appalling.
Is that the guy in
Rawl
The Price?
From The Price, yes.
Oh, yeah. Lloyd Braun from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's gross and greasy, and he rubbed her foot, and why would she even like him? Why do girls like guys like that? Ugh, makes me so mad. Okay, I actually went with her son, Ian, because if you remember, Ian started as a beam of light that came into the ship, and then, went under the covers and into her womb, So I think that counts as a love interest.
At least a romance. That
Yeah, some kind of or just some kind of sexual quickie, and it was with her own child. So that's gross.
Nice.
Okay,
That is nice.
but the best Deanna love interest, and it's good to steal some of your thunder for once, because I'm going with Reginald Barkley.
Oh, John, I wish you were stealing my thunder. I had that originally listed.
Oh, really?
But I'm gonna have to go, and I kind of went a little serious on this one. I wanted to go with Worf, and I did go with Worf. I went with the Worf.
Oh, you went serious. Oh, how
Isn't that
tender.
sweet? I went.
You like her
serious.
more with Worf than Riker, then?
Yes.
Oh.
Hooray! Fox Jim agrees. We win.
Oh, dang. Interesting. I like her with Tom Riker more than Worf.
I almost put that. I almost
Really?
put Riker Part 2.
Okay, but no, Barkley is good because she really kind of got the warm flurries for Reginald Barkley, of all people, for a little bit. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Gives us all hope. Okay, now the worst Beverly romance for you.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Odan from The Host because that kind of guy. I hate him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
The kind
I
of
don't
guy
like that
that
guy either.
like puts his hand on your shoulder, and even when he's like describing the toast he had that morning, it's the most serious thing you've ever heard discussed ever.
He's Mr. Intense.
He's very sincere about it. This
Yeah.
toast was.
He looks into the sun and starts crying. The sun is so good. or like looks at a rainbow. Oh my gosh, the rainbow!
I wish the sun
There's
would
a
hurry up
double
and set.
rainbow.
Oh, I assume you're quoting Bedazzled.
Yes, I am actually.
Oh man, that scene was really funny.
Oh, and
So-
the latest internet YouTube craze of this 10-minute footage of this guy going on and on about a rainbow and just going nuts.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to go for best Crusher romance. I kind of went serious here too. Honorable mention to Ronan because that was pretty sweet. The whole candle romance. But for the award, I went with Picard because that was kind of like the overarching romance that covered the entire show, and it was always kind of there in the background. And even though I guess they got married, right? According to all good things. So anyway,
According to one timeline, yeah.
the Picard.
Very good. Okay. I will go with. Okay, yeah, Jim's calling you out, saying she never had a romance with him. Well, you're definitely going to call me out on mine.
Well, they kissed, they expressed feelings, and they got married.
Yeah, they kind of got married. They got married in one timeline. We don't know if it's all timelines. So I guess you can say anything. We're talking fictional here, so we can do whatever we want.
Well, forget the future timelines. They still kissed and expressed feelings.
That's true. All right. Did I ever say my worst Beverly romance? Because I went ahead and went with the candle.
Oh,
Even though I love that episode.
I guess you didn't. I'm sorry.
Okay, and the best Beverly romance? Okay, this might be cheating a little bit because this wasn't really a romance, but I think there were sparks there. Sparks I like to see anyway. But in that same episode, The Host, but not that guy, not what's his name, but after he died and they put his
Riker?
Trill thing after Riker, when they put it into the woman. So the chick Trill, that's my favorite Beverly romance. Some like girl on girl that actually never happened.
That was
But-
intense.
Yeah, it was intense. It was palpable. Yeah. Oh, Jim said, I almost picked her best romance was the game. The sex game that came on board.
Yeah.
Okay, JR, your worst recurring character.
Oh, only if we're forgetting about the worst Picard romance.
Oh, whoops, I skipped past that. Sorry.
She did. Worst Picard romance, Nella Darren from Lessons.
Yes. I didn't even put her name down. I just put that yacht in Lessons.
She's not all. She's not. I don't. And he gives up all of his innermost sensitive parts to her so fast. Like
Oh.
I've never played this for anyone. I don't do this with anyone, and blah blah blah. And she wasn't all that, John.
She's horrible. She reminds me of a freaking Catherine Janeway. Oh well, we'll get to her later. Okay, but your best romance?
Oh, what was your worst?
Oh, my worst? No, I said that Yachin Lessons.
Oh, yes, you did.
With you. Yeah.
Okay, so my best was, with an honorable mention to Kamala, I went with Vosh. I think he was best suited with Vosh, even though her free spiritedness made it so they could never be together. But the problem I had with Kamala was that she was like programmed to like bond to him. It had nothing to do with her actually having any real feelings with him. She just happened to spend enough time with him that she bonded to him. And he happened to really dig her because she was becoming exactly what he wanted. So even though she was really pretty and he really dug her, the one that was actually a natural romance that I thought was the best was with Vosh.
Oh, true. And all the problems you had with Kamala were benefits for me, and I went with Kamala.
Okay, it might have been the best romance for him, because that would have been the best romance with anyone. And I thought about the lady from the Inner Light, but if we're getting picky here, that wasn't a real romance because that was all in his mind.
I guess, yeah. Way to call out Jim this time.
Oh, that'll teach him.
No, but actually, I do like the Inner Light one. For some reason, that didn't even occur to me. I probably should have picked that one. That's a really good one. Okay. Worst recurring character.
Oh, John, you get to announce all the categories now.
Okay, fine. You announce the categories.
Yeah, worst recurring character, John.
Loxana Troy.
Loxana Troy.
All right.
Best recurring character. I'm going to go with Ro Laren. I really wish there'd been more of her. Honorable mention to Reginald Barclay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I liked Barclay more than Ro, but actually I didn't pick either of them because I picked Garon, the Klingon Chancellor.
He's pretty cool. That's a good choice.
Yeah, eyes wide open, and he was sensible. He was very Klingon, very brash, but also and very dumb at times, but then sometimes he was sort of smart. I kind of liked him.
That's a good choice. Garon is a fine choice. Hey, Kern would have been a good choice too. There were lots of good
you like Kern.
Live long and prosper.
We're gonna pretend that never happened.
Yep, we are.
Okay,
we are back. It's only like a few seconds ago that we finished talking, which it seems. So we should be able to remember what category we left out on.
It was worst alternate reality.
Oh, okay. My worst alternate reality. The one where the Borg are everywhere, and Riker has a ZZ Top beard.
I don't remember that one.
It was in Parallels. It was just
Really?
one of the realities in Parallels. Remember? Because there was the one Enterprise that wanted to destroy him because they would rather live in their reality than their own because their own was so horrible.
Oh no, that's right. You're right. Okay. Oh, that's pretty good. So I just went with Frame of Mind.
Oh, okay.
Which also was my least favorite Twilight Zone episode. And so my best alternate reality was yesterday's Enterprise because wartime Enterprise is awesome.
Yep. Yeah, and I went with that as well. That was the best alternate reality. And even though it did have Tasha Yar, it was a Tasha Yar that was more livable with. Also, honorable mention where Wesley is a lieutenant, and that was another alternate reality in Parallels. Okay, how about your worst period episode?
Worst period episode, Time Zero.
Yep, Time Zero. I picked specifically Time Zero 2, because that's not just when Data was in that period, but when they were all in that period, and they somehow assumed positions and clothing from the time inexplicably.
Yeah. Time Zero 2. That's what I'm. Time Zero 2. Okay. So
how about
your best
the best
then?
period?
No, it's you. You
it's
first.
me. Sorry. I'm going with Encounter at Farpoint, which was a period piece of the early 21st century, shortly after the Atomic War.
Okay, I'm going with The Big Goodbye.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like that one. A lot of people don't like that one. I like that one.
A lot of people are jerks. The worst Q episode, John.
Encounter at Farpoint.
Encounter at Farpoint, best Q
which
episode.
was my best
Deja
period
Q.
episode. Yes,
Okay.
Q who?
No, I
Yes,
said
that
Deja
is-
Q.
Oh, Deja Q? The Robin Hood one?
Yes, because we're talking about the best Q episode, right? Not the best episode that happens to have Q in it. No. Deja Q is not the Robin Hood one. That's Cupid.
Oh, okay.
Deja Q is the episode where Q becomes human.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so we're talking
that's your
about an
favorite?
episode that it's all about Q. The whole thing is about Q. It's not an episode that has Q in it. It's all about him.
And so that's the same reasoning for not picking Tapestry?
Yes, because I probably would have picked Tapestry.
Okay, what is your worst Barkley episode?
Realm of Fear.
Yes. Realm of Fear. It was dull enough not to talk about. And my best Barkley episode was Hollow Pursuits, about holodeck addiction. And it had some of the best holodeck sequences in it. And plus, it was just about a guy who had a lot of anxiety. And I relate to that.
Oh wow, you and Fox Jim are on completely opposite.
I know, he hates
sides.
Hollow Pursuits. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's a great episode.
He's hateful. My favorite is Nth Degree. Whoa, look at that! I think Mr. Schultz really has a good time in that episode.
I would pick Genesis before the Nth Degree because Barkley turned into the coolest man spider I've ever seen.
Barkley Man Spider Pod.
Yes.
Okay. All right, John. The worst Tasha Yar episode.
Code of Honor. It's incredibly racist and not very good.
I'm trying to remember what one that was. And she was alive in that one?
Yeah, she was alive. It's where she had to. There was they went to the planet of African slave traders, and and she had to fight the daughter of one of the leaders there on a jungle gym of death.
Okay. I should probably change mine to that. I had Redemption Part 2, which doesn't even fit because it's not Tasha. It's like Tasha Spawn or something. I don't know.
Oh, Tasha Spawn.
The haircut was pretty bad, but you're probably right. Code of Honor is probably it.
Okay.
So the best Tasha episode, it's got to be Yesterday's Enterprise. Actually, you know what?
Really? You thinking about not picking Yesterday's Enterprise?
Oh, well, Skin of Evil is good because I love the whole funeral thing. It's a good funeral.
Yeah.
But let's go Yesterday's Enterprise.
Yeah. No, that's the answer. Yesterday's Enterprise. That's what I have. It's the best Tasha episode. And it kind of shows. It's kind of sad because like you could see that she could kind of become a sort of interesting character, but she never really got the chance because she only left after like 10 episodes or something. So
Yeah, and actually, when I looked up her specific episodes, there weren't a whole lot that were Tasha episodes per se. So Mr. Jim agrees with my honorable mention, Skin of Evil, but I think he likes it for all the wrong reasons, just because we get to get rid of her. See, if that's the case, then your favorite Wesley episode would be The Journey's End, and I mean, what can I say? So let's see. So let's move on to that, John. What's the worst Wesley episode?
it actually is Journey's End.
Journey's
it is the
End.
worst episode.
Yes, it is. Okay, and the best Wesley episode is oddly The Final Mission.
Really? Oh, okay, that was pretty good. And I like this one more than you. I actually like The Game as the best Wesley episode, where he makes out with Ashley Judd and saves the day, but in a less annoying way than usual. Crusher episode. Your worst Crusher episode.
Crusher. The host. Probably the host. Although, I think you're probably going to pick is it Suspicions?
Yeah, I am going to pick Suspicions. Very good.
You know, I'm going to switch Suspicions. At least the host it was had a decent story that maybe you could get involved in. I kind of hated the characters in the host, but Suspicions was really lame.
Yeah, Suspicions was pretty weak. It was subpar. It was pedestrian. But the best Dr.
favorite?
Crusher episode is Not Remember Me.
Yes,
and
it is.
Everyone is going to hate me for this, but I'm picking Sub Rosa.
Nothing wrong with that.
The gothic mystery romance next to a Scottish loch in a galaxy far, far away. It was great.
Yeah, it's good. It was a good episode. It was.
But you like Remember Me.
I like Remember Me. I really like Remember Me.
No, that's one of your favorite
Okay.
episodes. I wouldn't be surprised if it's your favorite episode of the Next Generation.
It's my favorite episode of the Next Gen. Man, why do you got to ruin that?
Spoiler. Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
dang it. Okay, now we're to Deanna episodes, right?
Yes,
Worst
the
Deanna
worst Deanna
episode.
episode. Honorable mention to Night Terrors, but I'm going to go with The Loss. And I think The Loss kind of epitomizes why everyone doesn't like Deanna, period.
Yeah. See, not only was she useless in that, but she was also extremely whiny and
condescending.
and snobby, just bad.
I hate being you guys. I hate being you guys, and none of you understand what it's like to be you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, but your best Deanna episode. Now this, we're going to think differently on here because I didn't define it very well.
Oh, no, mine has to be the winner. It's when she plays Deanna Zod in Power
Yes.
Play.
No, I should have thought of that. I didn't even think of that one. That one's Power Play.
Yeah,
when
Power Play,
she's
Power Play.
possessed by the evil
Deanna
convicts
Zod.
from convict spirits from that prison planet, and she leads the team to take over the Enterprise. One of the team being Data, but somehow they didn't take over the Enterprise quite as easily as when Data does it by himself.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But I thought the best Deanna episode was actually A Fistful of Datas, which wasn't super good because they didn't have Yul Brynner playing the gunslinger in it.
Yeah.
But Deanna just on the holodeck as a cowboy outlaw renegade person, I thought she was sexier there than in any other moment in the series.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. She was good in that one.
Pretty darn good.
Okay. Geordi episodes.
The worst Geordi episode is Galaxy's Child. Not only
I
because
almost put that one.
it was a bad episode, but that was the most painful Geordi episode to watch, where it was just like spelled out for everyone what a loser he is, and like it's just it hurts so bad when the girl when Leia Brahm stumbles upon his holodeck programs, and you can't backpedal from that, Geordi. I think you just you're supposed to just run away and cry, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, my
Don't
worst.
look at this! Don't look at it!
The worst Geordi episode, I actually had Interface, which is the virtual reality one, where he can't find his mom, and he still can't find his mom. His mom's still lost somewhere.
Yeah.
No one even knows. And that was the worst one. The best one?
Mm-hmm.
Identity Crisis.
That's right. You like that one.
He turns into an invisible lizard. That was kind of cool.
That was kind of freaky. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Next Phase because of all the laws they defy in that episode and the special boots they wear, and it's kind of he shares the episode with Ro, and so Next Phase. This was a hard category for me because of all the Geordi episodes, there weren't very many good episodes. Geordi had a lot of mediocre episodes. Most of the Geordi centric episodes were just kind of blah. But I'm right. Jim says Next Phase is not just a good choice, but the only choice.
It's so nice to have Jim in the chat room because we're always so unsure. Maybe this one, maybe this one. Oh no, I'm right. Jim says so. Yeah. It's nice. It's nice to have. It's building our confidence slightly. Data
All right,
episode?
John. Yeah, for you, what is the worst Data episode?
Okay, it probably wasn't. I almost picked Masks, and I disliked Masks more. But as a specific Data episode, I have to go with The Most Toys because I was hung up on it for 4 seasons about Data trying to kill the guy and then lying to the crew about it. It just hung me up so bad that I can't think of anything else but The Most Toys.
Okay, my worst is Quality of Life, and I think seriously, after this incident, they got to get him off the starship, because who knows when again he's going to. I mean, why didn't he try to destroy the entire ship while defending the nanites? I think maybe the next time Wesley spills his cup of nanites, that might be the case. I think this is just the episode that proves that he eventually will destroy the Enterprise.
Yeah, and Jim mentions a couple good ones. Specifically the one, he hates Elementary Dear Data, which is actually pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
And then he says the best one is the one where he dates that woman, which I think is horrible.
Yeah, I didn't like that one very much either. Oh, Jim, this is the first time you've been way off. I'm sorry. Another real bad one, of course, was Hero Worship. That was pretty bad.
Yeah,
Although,
that was up there. That was really
it's a bad episode. I can't blame it on Data's performance, but it was a bad episode.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good work, Jim. Yeah, the when he tried to date the woman, that was pretty bad. So, let's see. John, the worst Worf episode.
New Ground, which is the one where Alexander comes on board and stays with him forever.
That's pretty bad. That's a good choice. I'm going to go with the Cost of Living because he's made a fool of. He just looks like a fool.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Because the Cost of Living might be the worst episode of television.
Of television. Oh, man, that's good. So, that episode might come up again. Let's see. For my best Worf episode, this is an early one. I'm going to go with The Heart of Glory.
Wow.
Because this
First
is the
season?
first. Yeah, this is the first time where he really dips into his Klingon roots and he really gets into being Klingon-y on the episode. But then he explains why it's okay for him to be in the Federation and Klingon. But I think one of the great moments is when that person dies and he gives the howl.
Yeah.
The howl. Not to mention, Heart of Glory was at the top of my list of best episode names. Great name.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Heart of Glory. Yeah, the one with Kalis, I can't remember what that one's called. Is it The Rightful Heir? That was also very top of my best Worf episodes. That was a great
Rightful Heir. That's right up there. But
like
going back to...
We can just knock off great Worf episodes. Worf was in some great episodes. So
that's true.
There was Sins the Father was great. Redemption was great. Rightful Heir was great. I mean, there were some great Worf episodes.
Dang it, I might have to switch mine now that we've talked about all those, because I for some reason I didn't really count Rightful Heir as a Worf episode, but it really was a Worf episode, wasn't it?
Yes, it really was.
I'm gonna pick Rightful Heir. I did have Parallels, which everybody else liked more than I did, but I'm warming up to, because Parallels was pretty good.
Oh yeah, Parallels.
I liked how it was like. It was very subtle in its direction, how things kind of changed, and it was kind of cool to see them go back and forth and stuff like that. But no, Rightful Heir, I think, is interesting. We talked about that episode for like an hour. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, can I go back to Heart of Glory, though?
Yeah, do it.
Because the best part about Heart of Glory is when he does the Klingon yell that warns the afterlife spirits that a warrior is coming into the afterlife.
Yeah.
But then he reproduces the same Klingon yell as the Klingon mating call.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
In a later episode. I think in that Wesley Lassomorph episode. Okay. Okay, now this one was hard for me, actually.
Yes,
Worst
John.
Riker episode.
Do I go first? I can't remember. I'll go.
Go first.
Okay, I'm going to say a matter of perspective, honorable mention being Outcast. And the Outcast is my honorable mention because it just proves that, like, he is willing to, like, go for anybody and anything. I mean, I can't explain that one other than there was, like, a challenge to him. Darn right, I'm going to be attracted to this race. You trying to tell me I can't? So, but a matter of perspective was just that's the one that just like it shows like what Riker is. Like he's like a total lecherous creep, and he doesn't even realize it.
Yeah. So, but that you counted that as your worst?
Yes,
because I have it on my list for best for that very reason.
For the very reason. So, what's your worst Riker episode then?
Well, the Outcast is on here as well, and I just kind of have to say about the Outcast, I don't think the Outcast worked, because yes, they wanted to make a good point about, like, obviously about homosexuality or transgenders even, some kind of thing there, and they wanted to use Riker, but they can't use Riker because he's already established as such a legitimate womanizer. And so, to even think that he'd even be sort of androgyny curious is kind of far-fetched. And the fact that he pulls out the L word in The Outcast and no other episode that I can even think of, it doesn't really make sense. Yeah, and Jim says lesbian, the L word. Yeah. There's a movie coming out. I didn't mention this, but Scott Pilgrim versus the World. You've seen previews for that, right?
Nope.
It's Edgar Wright, and Michael Cera is in it. Edgar Wright, of course, is the guy who did Shaun of the Dead.
Okay.
And Michael Cera is in this new Edgar Wright movie where he starts dating this girl, and as part of dating her, he has to defeat her ex-boyfriends, like in duels, in like battle. And
That's
there's a point where one of the characters says, "Pull the L word on her. Pull the L word on her. When the time is right." And he just goes, "Lesbians? What?" And then like later, like he confronts her and he goes, "I'm in Lesbians with you." It's pretty funny.
Oh, so now we already know your favorite Riker episode, which was my least favorite, and everyone else's least favorite.
No. I didn't say what my least favorite is officially.
Oh, then what is your least favorite officially?
Well, it's Shades of Grey. How can you forget about Shades of Grey? It was the flashback episode at the end of season 2, where he's
that
like
was
in a
pretty
coma.
bad. My favorite Riker episode is A Matter of Honor, and Jim agrees.
Oh,
That's what a testosterone fueled episode, and that episode held so much Riker potential. I think I may have picked Riker as my favorite character that season.
Oh yeah, no, that was good. I can't decide. I actually have a bunch listed, and I was going to just decide on the fly. I think I might go with Second Chances because just the sheer volume of Riker in that episode. And I thought it was really interesting, how he felt several years ago and like how that affects his present, and it's kind of like sliding doors a little bit. But also on the short list I had First Contact. I thought was a really good Riker episode.
Okay.
Where he
you
he
like
sleeps
that
with
one
Phoebe
a lot.
Norworth.
Yeah.
And Best of Both Worlds Part 2. Even though it's not a very good episode, it was good Riker because he was in charge. Mm-hmm. And I can't deny A Matter of Perspective because we get to see exactly how Riker perceives himself and how others perceive him, and how never the twain shall meet. And it's like, sometimes people like that who don't understand how people perceive them. And it's some kind of sociopathic thing, and that's like what Riker has.
Yeah. Is that a lack of self-awareness? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Well, there you go. Riker. So polarizing, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay, so, John, this is the big guns right here.
Yeah,
the worst Picard episode.
Lessons.
Okay, I thought you'd pick that. I'm going to go ahead and go with Disaster.
Really?
An episode in which he finds himself stuck in an elevator with a bunch of little kids, but together, when they put their heads together, little kids can help save the Enterprise.
I can't believe how much worse my episode is than your episode.
Okay, whatever. So the best Picard episode. Oh, this was actually tough because there's the obvious one, and I liked Chain of Command Part 2 a lot, and I liked my official honorable mention is Sarek, but the Inner Light is it. It's it.
The Inner Light is the best Picard episode. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's not a Picard episode. Maybe it's more of a Kamen episode. Is that his name?
I don't know. So, all right, John, what is the worst use of the beefcake budget?
Easy.
Okay.
William Campbell as the outrageous O'Connor.
Okay, he was my honorable mention, but then I went with the Cytherian because that's just not very attractive. I don't know what they thought they were doing.
Who's the Cytherian? Is he the guy in the Nth Degree?
No, the Cytherian that dragged them to his part of the universe, and he's kind of like the hippie old man.
Right, in the Nth Degree.
Yes, very good. In the nth degree,
Okay.
yes. That's
Okay.
Yeah, very
And your best beefcake?
Leator. Do you know who that is?
No, I can't think of who Lieto is.
From Justice. He was one of the dreamy
One of-
guy from Justice.
One of the greased up. Did he play saxophone?
He may have.
Nice. Okay. Well, way to go.
Leator
Well.
slash Sergio.
I'm definitely going with Eric Pierpont, who played Vauval in Liaison.
Liaison.
And he was the guy who was posing as that hot woman who was on the planet that Picard was stranded with. But, I think he earns beefcake points because he was struggling to learn the human concept of love. Which, plus he looks like a kind of a young Bruce Boxleitner who played Tron.
All right. Well, John, what is your vote for the best use of the HCB, also known as Hot Chick Budget?
Are we going to do the worst use of HCB first?
Oh, yes, we should. Indeed, we
Okay.
should. Sorry.
I'm going to go with Catherine Moffat as Itana Jal,
Agreed.
who was in the game. Really? You're agreed?
Yeah.
The butthead?
Because I think she was supposed to be attractive, right?
Supposed to be. Yeah.
But that was not the effect, for sure. Ooh, that means I get to do it first. Okay, so there were some good choices for the best use of the budget. And I'm going to go with Brenna Odell.
No way.
Up the
Are you
long
serious?
ladder. I'm totally serious.
I was going to surprise you so bad by picking Brenna Odell in Up the Long Ladder,
She's
played
hot.
by Rosalind Landor. Oh,
She's
yeah,
hot.
she was great.
Mid-rifferific.
Mid-rifferific, and she had
Yes.
that accent, and
Oh,
it didn't
man.
help,
She was
it
saucy.
didn't hurt that she was surrounded by, like, her dirty family. So it kind of made her look better, because she was the only clean one. But, yeah, no, very sexy. Brenna Odell, Up the Long
That's
Ladder.
official.
Yeah,
Best-
I mean, I
best-
could have picked Kamala, and I could have picked Ashley Judd, and I could have picked
Amanda Rogers.
Amanda Rogers. Amanda Rogers is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And who was the security chief who was in charge of watching Picard's son?
Oh, yeah, I
she
know
was
you really
really
liked
good,
her.
too.
The Joan Jett hair.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. Well, that was an important. That was a big one. We're almost done here.
Oh, yeah.
So we are now down to. I think I get to go first. You can read it. You can read it, John. Read it.
Okay. The most deproved. Actually, can I reverse this? I have to reverse this one. Who is your most improved cast member?
I'm gonna go with Picard. Picard's the
Really?
most improved. Yes.
Most improved. Okay, my most improved is actually Wesley Crusher, because at first he started out really annoying, but then by the time of the game and first duty, he wasn't obnoxious, and he was talking to everybody at their level, and he was an equal, and he actually really did grow and turn into someone I wouldn't mind hanging out with. So most improved
Until
Wesley
the final
Crusher.
journey.
Yes, which leads me to my most deproved cast member, which is again Wesley Crusher. And at Journey's End, he just all of that went out the window, and he was awful. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah. Jim says
So-
in the chat the most improved is Yar. She went from annoying to off the show.
Okay, my most deproved is Riker. I think at the beginning of the show I wanted to like him so bad, and then the last few seasons, it was like a spiral.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, the first 3 or 4 seasons, Riker was really the man. I really liked that guy. And I really grew to love him, even more than Worf at one point. But then he just kind of stopped showing up a little bit. He chose to direct, perhaps.
Okay, John. Now this is definitely a different category here, and anyway, the worst cast member, not the most deproved, but the worst, just flat out the worst cast member, regular cast.
Guinan. I picked Guinan. Does that count?
Oh, do we call her a recurring character?
We might. I don't know. Anyway, that's who I picked.
Okay, I'm going. With
If not Guinan, then Deanna.
I'm going with the Wesley.
Okay.
which brings me to the best. And as far as like consistency, and I swear I enjoy almost every single episode that is centered around this character. I'm gonna go with Worf as the best
Going with
cast member.
Worf. I almost went with Worf. I almost went with Riker, but I had to go with Picard, even though I have some serious complaints just about the character itself. I almost think he's too good. You know, like he doesn't have enough weakness. He doesn't have enough flaws to really, really be interesting. But then at the same time, he's so good, I just have to pick him as the best cast member. You know?
Yeah.
So, and Jim is mentioning to us that he wrote a big essay about the goodness of Picard and why Kirk is better. So, we'll have to read that. You've been collecting the essays in a special place, right?
I have them in a special place.
You know what? My mug, I ordered... We should have mentioned this before. If anybody wants to order a JR Watches Star Trek for the first time mug, you know, there's a link somewhere on the blog, and you can just order it. Otherwise, you can write an essay and possibly win the mug. And I ordered myself a mug, and it should get here today. It might be in the mailbox right now. I kind of can't wait.
Hey, are we giving a mug for the best Deep Space Nine essay too? I can't remember if we were doing that. Or is it just for the Picard Kirk? It was just the Picard.
How about
Kirk,
this?
right?
How about this? It's just the Picard Kirk, unless you want to spot the money for the best Deep Space Nine.
Okay, we're just gonna do that for the Picard Kirk then. All right. This is John. This is so exciting right here. Are you ready? We're about to count down the 10 worst and 10 best episodes of the entire Next Generation.
Yeah, This is exciting.
Okay. I'll start on the worst, and you can start on the best. Okay.
Okay, you start on the worst.
So, 169th best episode of the Next Generation.
Yeah. Wow.
Is Symbiosis, because that's the episode that's about drugs.
That's true. I forgot to put that one on. Kind of amazing, right? That there are actually 9 worse than Symbiosis.
Yeah.
I totally forgot to put Symbiosis on. No, that's a good one. I can't believe I didn't mind Symbiosis so much. This one wasn't nearly as bad as Symbiosis, but I had to put it on as my 169th, and I put Who Watches the Watchers.
Okay.
Because I think every once in a while you watch a little bit of TV that just strikes you in the wrong way, that you kind of get a sense that what the writers were writing about and what their opinion was and what they're trying to say is something that you don't yourself believe in and disagree with completely. And maybe this isn't the case. Maybe this isn't what they meant, but I kind of got the impression that one of the points of Who Watches the Watchers is that any society that starts down a path of logic and reason, that religion is completely out of place and is completely like de-evolved. And that was the big concern in that episode, and I think there's a reason they picked Vulcans or proto-Vulcans in that episode, because they're trying to say, well, anyone who's logical and reasonable wouldn't come to any sort of conclusion that religion is valid in any sense. And I think, because I always kind of joke around about how anti-religion Star Trek is, but I really got the sense in Who Watches the Watchers. So that's why I had to kind of throw it in there, even though Symbiosis was way worse.
Good throw, John. Good throw.
Yeah,
so what's your 170th favorite episode?
My 170th is Suddenly Human. Maybe I'd relate to it better if I appreciated running alongside the river.
There was a river, and I ran along. That's pretty good. My 170th is Night Terrors. It has some of the most vivid Deanna Troi sausage casing imagery in the show. So 170th Night Terrors.
Oh, okay,
what do you want from us?
I like Night Terrors. Am I the only person who likes Night Terrors?
You're the only person who
I
likes.
am. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to my 171st favorite, The Outrageous O'Connor.
Really?
It was outrageous.
Wow. 171st?
Yeah.
Okay, my 171st is Imaginary Friend, which is where they meet the little girl who is evil, and And then they say something at the end to her, like, you're not supposed to do that. Anyway, it was just kind of dumb. It was just the little evil girl, and I didn't like it.
Yeah. Okay. So what's number 172 for you, John?
Oh, for me, that's right. A Matter of Time. And once again, I hated this one a lot more than everybody else, but that's the one with Max Headroom, where he's the thief from the 21st century, and he starts stealing stuff on the Enterprise. And he was really, really annoying in it, and he talked annoying, and he bugged me. But not only that, everybody on the crew was an idiot in the episode, and I didn't like how any of them were reacting to this guy.
Okay, well, that's a good point, and I know you really, really didn't like that episode. My 172nd is The Loss.
Oh,
it's a Deanna Troi episode, probably the worst Deanna Troi episode as I look down the rest of my list. It was just, and I think I picked it as my favorite episode of that podcast.
And your least favorite, wasn't it? Was it one of those?
I don't know, but it was bad. So anyway, so am I on to 173? Is it my turn again?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So 170. The 173rd favorite episode is Journey's End.
Good one.
Because it was terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, we've discussed it at length so far already. So I mean,
that's true. Yeah, it's come up a bunch of times. And once again, that's a worse episode than Who Watches the Watchers, but. So it should have been on mine, as well as Symbiosis, but I didn't put it on. Okay, my 173rd is Samaritan Snare, where Geordi gets kidnapped by the short bus, and it was annoying. It was horrible. And they, once again, they talked. Annoying, and... surprisingly, this race is not eradicated. Like, they talk about the Packleds in the other episodes, which I don't get, but it was a bad episode. Okay, 174th. And Jim says, Samaritan Snare is unbelievable. Why would they even try to get Geordi back? Just mean. That's just mean. Okay, 174th is Force of Nature, and that's the environmental episode. But not only is it the environmental episode, but it's also the Data talking about Spot for a half-hour episode before they even get to the environmental episode. And then when they get to the environmental episode, it's super lame and horrible. And it set a lame precedent that there are speed limits in space, and it thus hindering space exploration and the joy of discovery and everything. It's just a huge buzzkill of an episode.
Oh man, why have they been so irresponsible in space? Okay, my 174th is Masks, because I just hated it. I hated all the. I know that some people just love it when Brent Spiner gets to go crazy on some of these characters, but I just couldn't stand it. And then like the whole confrontation at the end where they're both wearing those ridiculous masks and having, I hated it. So there.
It would have made my list if I paid attention during the episode, but I didn't really.
Yes.
I kind of.
Yes, bottom 10 really. Bottom 3 really. No, hold on. Bottom 5. Oh, there's more left. Okay. Bottom 5. Okay. So my 175th favorite is Galaxy's Child.
Oh.
Because they were fighting against Pasta that was giving birth, and Geordi was Geordi. This was such a bad Geordi episode.
Yep. Pasta. Where are we? 175th for me? Okay, bottom 4 here. Lessons. When the subpar woman seduces Picard and he turns into an idiot. And and they play music together and he shares that sacred flute with her. It was blasphemous. Lessons is like horrible.
It's like he betrayed the love of his life, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
The love of his life that never happened.
That never happened. Or even Vosh. It's like he betrayed Vosh. Or even Kamala. Or
any
Crusher. Gosh.
Or Crusher. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so was that your 175th?
Yeah, it's 176th for me.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe this doesn't count, but Shades of Grey, because you don't even remember this one, do you?
I have a hard time remembering it.
It's the
Jim
flashback
said,
episode.
yeah, I
And
think
it's
Jim said that
season
he doesn't
2.
even agree that it exists. Yeah, I remember looking
Yeah.
through them and I remember thinking season 2, and they're already doing a flashback episode.
And they
Did
thought
they-
of the dumbest flashbacks to flashback to.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those it was like Tinkerbell. There was like one point where like, Riker, wake up. If I believe enough, you might wake up. And then
Oh,
Troy
yeah.
claps her hands or something. And then Tinkerbell comes back to life.
Yeah.
Shades of Grey is horrible. No one likes Shades of Grey. I think Shades of Grey is actually officially the worst Star Trek episode, the most reviled.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Okay. For my 176, I'm going to go with The Price.
Wow.
And I just, oh my gosh, first the fact that like Deanna, like, well, the women of the Enterprise will fall in love with anyone that shows interest, even remotely. And then this guy is like the worst human there is. And like, so when she finds out that she's in love with him because he's been using mind powers over her or whatever, she gets a little offended. But then he goes, no, she gets offended that he's been using his mind power, his Beta Z powers for the negotiations. But then he said, "Well, it worked on you." And so anyway, I hated The Price. I hated it.
Okay. And is it my turn again?
Let's see. No, it is.
I
My
have
turn.
2 left.
Yeah. So my 177th favorite episode is The Cost of Living.
Yes. Okay. The mud bath one.
The Mud Bath, and I think I've already tipped my hand as to my 178th favorite or my least favorite episode of all of Star Trek: The Next Generation. But go ahead, John. 177
Yeah,
and
I think you
178.
have. Okay, 177th is the outrageous O'Connor. There he is, folks. It's like, Data, have you ever loved the act or the emotion? They're both the same, Data. They're both the same. And he wears
when
his boots.
When they wrote this episode, they must have thought that what an awesome character. This guy's awesome. He's terrible. So, John, that brings it down to your least favorite Star Trek: The Next Generation episode, period.
Yep. And it is actually, you just said it, it's cost of living. When we actually
John-
talked about this, I seem to recall mentioning watching Cost of Living is the first time I've regretted starting this podcast with you, because it was not fun at all. Like all of these other like lousy episodes, I kind of enjoyed watching them and I enjoyed making fun of them, but no, Cost of Living, I just offended and irritated, and I wanted to do anything else than watch Cost of Living.
Yeah, I am so shocked. Jim's wondering why Justice isn't on our bottom 10 list. I actually kind of like Justice.
I kind of like Justice, yeah. Yeah, Jim, if you listen to our episode where we talk about Justice, I think that was our favorite episode of that podcast. It was first season.
Yeah. But now my least favorite episode, and I'm surprised it's not even on your list, it's Menage a Troi.
Yeah,
And
I knew it was Menage a Troi, yeah.
How did that not make your list? How did that not make your list?
I thought...
You had Who Watches the Watchers, and you didn't have Menage a Troi.
I know. No, Menage a Troi, I do remember liking a lot more than you, because I could get into the silliness of it. And I had a lot of... I think I had so much respect for the Ferengi technology, and we didn't mention this with Ferengi technology, but maybe this even beats the Ferengi subspace beaming technology, where they beam people naked. I had so much respect for that. It's like, oh yeah, just beam a couple of naked chicks on board. I have respect for that. I know that sounds like I'm a horrible person, but I can't not respect that kind of technology.
All right. Well, John, here we go, buddy.
Wait, one more thing. I may as well just list this because, some people are wondering like why there were some that I didn't say, but I had a big long list of episodes I hated, and so these are the ones that didn't quite make my bottom 10 of hate. And so they were Code of Honor, Hero Worship, Encounter at Farpoint, Interface, Liaisons, The Loss, Manhunt, Masks, Newground, The Price, and Too Short a Season. So quite a few.
You could fill an entire season of The Next Generation with episodes you hated.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, man.
All right.
Like 26 of them.
Well, here we go. Now, this isn't just our opinion. This is fact. This is scientific fact. This is the 10 best episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. Number 10, John, go.
Okay. And I tried to spread it out a little bit, so I actually went with my... Well, actually, this wasn't my favorite first season episode, but I have a special place in my heart for the episode called Conspiracy. Okay. And kind of like Who Watches the Watchers, there are some that are a lot better, but this is the one that had the guy who explodes at the end with the worms living inside him, and it was not quite a Star Trek episode. It was more like just kind of bad 60s sci-fi that I love watching.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, 10 for me is Lower Decks.
Excellent.
Yeah, if you've listened to the podcast, we talked about it a lot the last couple of podcasts, but I really, really liked Lower Decks. Really, really liked Lower Decks. So number 9 for me is Tapestry. Yeah.
Tapestry.
Number 9 is Tapestry. Yeah. I love Tapestry. One of the best Q episodes, one of the best Picard episodes, and one of the best time travel episodes, maybe. I guess not time travel, but he goes back and sees his past and figures, he can make his present better by fixing his past. But John, we are who we are in the present because of our past, regardless of the stupid things we did. And I don't know. I thought it was great. I love Tapestry.
Yeah, I really liked my favorite part of Tapestry. Actually, you know what? I'm going to not say anything about Tapestry at this point. Okay, my 9th favorite is Conundrum, and I just barely replaced this last minute. But that's the one that makes no sense because any aliens who have this technology would not need the technology of the Enterprise, because that's the whole point of it, because they would be more powerful, and it's this great amnesia ray thing. But it was just hilarious to see how the crew related to each other with the blank slate.
Yeah.
Like, Worf, he's in charge, and Ro, she's obviously sleeping with Riker. It was just an assumption she came up with. And Data's a bartender, and then there's this weird guy that's not in the cast who just seems like one of them, who's not what he seems. Now, Conundrum was a really fun episode. I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 8, for me, Sarek. Which... dearth of Vulcans in Next Generation, which is a huge Next Generation problem. Where are the Vulcans? But we have this really big Vulcan in this one, and it's about him, but mostly it's about Patrick Stewart purging the emotion out of Sarek in some really great acting. So Sarek was really good.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, my number 8 is Rightful Heir.
Oh, yes, Rightful Heir.
Rightful Heir. Fantastic. Number 7, Conundrum.
Oh, wow. It beat
really
my
dug
Conundrum. I didn't think that.
Yes, my Conundrum beat your Conundrum.
Yep. Wow. Okay, and we've already talked about that. Okay, well, my number 7 is Lower Decks. My Lower Decks beat your Lower Decks.
Woo-woo!
Good change of pace, Lower Decks, and comes across really well. Like, on paper, it probably wasn't as good as how it actually turned out, which turned out really well, which is me caring about these teenage characters that I'd never seen before. And
Cito's so good looking.
She's all right. My 6th, my Tapestry beats your Tapestry.
Oh, man. This is starting to suck.
My favorite part of Tapestry that I was going to say was how we all have that, like, I wonder what would have happened if we went after this girl that we never went after. You know, you always have that regrets. And Picard actually did that, and it turns out to be a worse decision. And nothing's made me feel better.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. My 6th is Yesterday's Enterprise. thoroughly enjoyable. I enjoyed the feel. I enjoyed the story. I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was great. It was just like you're in the normal Enterprise, and then all of a sudden the Enterprise looks totally different, and like it was really disconcerting for a minute. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
but it was I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah.
Okay, which leads me to my number 5, which is Q Who. And I think I put this on here probably just for the sheer iconography. I don't know. It was just it was a very iconic episode. It's kind of like whatever the episode was Khan in the original series.
Oh, Space Seed. Yeah.
Space. Yeah. So
Like,
this was like
first Borg and best
and
Q.
first Borg, not my best Q. First Borg, and I thought this was the best, probably the best Borg episode.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything about that.
Oh, don't.
Okay. My 5th favorite is The Defector. I think I like this one more than you did. But I just liked... He was probably my favorite character. Just the conflicted guy, and he really made me believe it. And James Sloyan, my favorite guest. So I like The Defector a lot.
That would have been a good category, favorite character in the whole show.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Okay, so
My 4th.
what was that? Okay, what's your 4th?
It's Q Who. You just mentioned it. And I thought it was... A lot of people are Best of Both Worlds fans, but I think there's no comparison. I think the tension in Q Who is way bigger, and I think the potential for the Borg was more exciting than how the Borg actually turned out. I actually find the Borg pretty dull after Q Who, and Q was better in Q Who than anything else. He was in most of the other ones. He's kind of playful and fun and just kind of annoying. But in Q Who, he was really scary.
Yeah,
and
deadly
he made
serious.
the Borg really scary. Yeah, deadly serious. I thought Q Who was the best.
Okay, well, for my number 4, my Defector beats your Defector.
Oh, dang it! Really?
Ha ha ha!
Oh man,
That'll show you. Why didn't you like Defector? Why didn't you like that, John? What's your problem? So no, it was a great episode, great ethical episode, great. I just thought it was great, and then the ending was just so.
yeah. Oh, it's sad.
What a great ending.
Yeah,
So okay,
it was good, but let me just say, JR, the Defector was good, but it wasn't top 4 good.
Okay. Well, my number 3 is Chain of Command Part 2, with our friend Mr. Warner playing Gul Madred, and then some fantastic acting by the Picard. That was one fantastic episode.
Yeah.
It was off the chain hook.
Off the chain of command hook.
Yeah. All right. So your number 3, John.
My number 3 is my chain of command part 2 ties your chain of command part 2.
But I attacked, so I win.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of what your second might be. I think I might know what it is, but I'm not totally sure. Okay, well, anyway, Chain of Command Part 2, it was really good. David Warner versus Patrick Stewart. Really good acting. Usually I don't notice acting, but my number 2, and you've already mentioned it, and this is just when I think of awesome times watching Star Trek as a kid, I think of this one. Maybe I put it way too high, but I love Yesterday's Enterprise because I love that other world that could have been. And I love the direction they did with it, and I love the high stakes. The only problem I have with it is you read on Memory Alpha that not only does Riker die, but they had everybody else die. They had Data get electrocuted and fall apart, and written into the script, they have Wesley get decapitated. Why didn't they put that in the episode? Can you imagine how many Star Trek fans would have like a moving GIF as their icon of Wesley getting decapitated? It would be the most popular image in Star Trek history, but they didn't put it in the episode. Why not? Anyway,
that's pretty
so
awesome.
that's my big complaint about yesterday's Enterprise. But it is my second favorite Next Generation episode. I love it.
It's really too bad that the 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 Federation is at peace because wartime Enterprise is way cooler.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, it's go time.
Your third? Or second?
No,
It's your second.
my second. My second favorite episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation is Sarek. I thought the acting was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, like absolutely gut-wrenching acting.
I didn't
And
even think that. I thought for sure. I thought I like Sarek more than you. Yeah.
no. Oh, okay. In fact, I was real tempted to put Sarek first, to be quite honest.
Really? Well, you couldn't. Well, based on what you're going to say next, I think. So is it your number one or is it my number one? Do you want me to go?
It's my number one, but if you
Okay.
think we're in unison, we can try a unison thing, or I can just say it. I'll just say it. The
really?
best
Well,
Star...
we could try the unison thing. Do you want to try the unison thing?
Sure. John, the best Star Trek: The Next Generation episode from Season 5 is Inner Light.
The Dauphin. Oh.
Okay, the Dauphin. No, it's Inner Light.
It is Inner Light. No, you're right. You're right. I was so excited to say Dauphin at the end. No, Inner Light is great, and Jim is going nuts. I actually hear him yelling right now, even though he's just chatting. I guess he hates the Inner Light. I don't know. I guess he's not human, but that's whatever. But I knew you couldn't pick Sarek as your number one because at one
I picked
point
it as my number two.
you actually said, well, no, you said when we talked about the Inner Light, you said now the rest of Next Generation, it will just be a contest to see if any other episode beats Inner Light. And you haven't said that since. So I knew it would be your number one. It was also my number one because I couldn't find another one that affected me more. And yes, Jim, over Chain of Command Part 2 and over Family.
Family.
Family. That didn't make my worst list or my best list, but whatever. I mean, it's okay, but I mean, I don't think we're alone here. I don't think we're alone here in saying that The Inner Light is the best Star Trek: The Next Generation episode. I think a lot of people think that.
Also,
and sometimes I don't agree with crowds, but in this case, I totally do.
Yeah. Also, it should be remembered that when we started this, I said that this was scientific fact.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's
you
it.
can't even organize.
Can't argue
You
science.
can't even argue. Yeah, it's science. But no, Inner Light actually biggest emotional response for me. I guess I'll just say it that way. And that's my best reason for putting it at number one.
Oh man, I mean the whole life he lived, and it was fantastic, and it was just he was so happy and perfect and content, and then it just all freaking ended. It just ended.
Yeah.
And then he's back to whatever, and so he's like experienced 60 years of life, and then he's back on the stupid Enterprise, and all he's got is that what do you call it? That flute.
Dorky flute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
fantastic.
for me, the reason, the big moment that I knew it was like the episode for me was when they just come back from commercial and they said, shoot, my memory alpha isn't working because I can't remember his name, but not
His best buddy?
not his best buddy. His best buddy. His name was Bataille.
Yeah.
And they come back from commercial, and Picard has a son, I think, and they said they were naming him Bataille, or they said something about Bataille and how he's no longer with us, about how he died last year. And I was like, Bataille's gone? I love that guy. How can my friend die like that? Oh. But I don't know. I guess we just were both fooled, both emotionally and manipulated by the Inner Light.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, all right. How exciting was that?
Oh, it's good to finally know, what the best and worst episodes are. And also, actually, can I say my my short list of other ones that I liked?
Indeed, you can.
Cause and Effect. I put conspiracy on the short list. I forgot to erase it. The Dauphin, First Contact, Hollow Pursuits, The Measure of a Man, The Big Goodbye, which would have been my representation for season 1. And The Big Goodbye I would have put on because it asks the big, huge question about perception of life and like, what is life? How do we know, what the consciousness of other living things? And it just kind of subtly asks that question just toward the very end, and that's where the title comes from. But
are you talking about Measure of a Man?
I'm actually not talking about Measure of a Man, but that asks the same thing too. But the Big Goodbye there is the possibility that these things are alive, and it just kind of throws out the possibility just a little bit, just kind of asks the questions, doesn't even bother trying to answer. So I kind of like it.
I'm shocked that Measure of a Man didn't make your list. I thought you loved that episode. I really did.
I thought Measure of a Man was great, but didn't make my list. It was a Data episode, so I hated it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's that. So now the only thing we have left is to get down to the business of the future of the JR Watches Star Trek for the First Time podcast, right?
Yes, and you've been. Let me just ask. You've been getting the essays about whether or not to go on to Deep Space Nine.
I have. I've read the essays, and they're all good. They're all persuasive.
What were some of the arguments? I mean, were there any that affected you?
Well, I'll hash this out here. So here's my arguments, and some of these come from the essays. So, number one, the whole point of this experiment, the purview of this experiment was to watch everything original Star Trek Next Generation movies, and that was the scope of the project, right?
Yeah.
And so Deep Space Nine would be kind of outside that. I don't know,
right.
Would we have to change the podcast to GR Watches Star Trek spinoff for the first time? I don't know.
No.
So there's that. The other problem is the time thing. It's 7 seasons. It is a lot of more show to watch, and I know that someone's wife was especially excited that he was going to be done podcasting. So
really,
there's that. Yeah. Now on the other hand, there were some stories that I really started to enjoy towards the end of the Next Generation that were not fully fleshed out. Number one is probably the Cardassians. What a fantastic villain, and I think the Next Generation never really got into it or took advantage of that, and I know that that's a big element of Deep Space Nine. Also the Bajorans and the whole situation there, and I think, from what I understand, it starts to get into not painting the Federation as like all good and whatever. Maybe there's like, the good guys are not so good sometimes, and so there's some really good reasons to watch that, and there's some unanswered questions, some stories that have been resolved, and I'm also hoping that in Deep Space Nine they go back to conspiracy and we see some worm throat people.
Yeah.
So
now, some of the things that I gathered for some of the emails is just as far as pioneering goes. One good reason is that neither of us have really seen Deep Space Nine.
JR and John watched Deep Space Nine for the first time.
So it's kind of like a both perspective thing. Another reason is that many of our listeners haven't either. And many of them love Deep Space Nine and have and say there's a lot more to talk about in Deep Space Nine than Next Generation. But then again, there will be lots more who will be doing it along with us, and so it's more of a kind of a journey thing. And then another reason is that no one is watching Deep Space Nine, so this would be kind of internet-y unique.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I guess another thing was what? Something awesome. Oh, well. There was another argument. I can't remember.
How about this? That Hawk from Spencer for Hire is in charge of Deep Space Nine?
That's definitely an argument. No, the other one I was going to say is apparently we have to trudge through a couple mediocre seasons before it picks up. And that was kind of painful in the Next Generation. And let's see, what's another good argument against it was probably that I've got to have like 20 different television shows that I've got all queued up. John, when am I going to get to them? When am I going to get to them? Also, now
certainly
we have
Deep Space Nine is more important than Glee.
Oh, is it? Is it? Now, the point was also brought up that if we do the Deep Space Nine podcast, will it interfere with me and you and Josh doing the Walker Texas Ranger podcast? I wasn't aware that we were going
that's
to,
true.
but apparently it's fact, and so so I guess there's nothing to it but to do it. I guess I should
okay, so this is it? You announcing it?
Yep, I'm going to announce
I'm
it.
ready.
Here we go. I've decided that I will not...
Mr. Worf. Fire.